What up, everybody? This here, like I said, is going to be the drag-a-thon of Cheyenne Bryant. Basically, basically, I'm done when I say I'm done. That's basically how this gonna go. Um, and I'm gonna be using a little bit of everybody. First up is a page called The Sauce. Shout out to them. Let's get it.
For tuning into the sauce, your source for celebrity news. Ayo, thanks for tuning into the sauce, your source for celebrity news. Do me a favor and hit that like button, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, why don't you go ahead and do that too? Alright, y'all, check this out. As you know, over the last few years, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant has been all over these internet streets, giving advice to many people. I mean, she's been giving advice to Shannon Sharp, Joe Budden, Nene Leakes, Cam Newton, Oprah Winfrey. I mean, everybody. For a while, this chick was social media's go-to doctor. That is, until recently, when rumors started circulating that Dr. Cheyenne Bryant may not really be a doctor at all, and she doesn't have a license because she may not have even graduated from an accredited university. Alright, so after rumors started circulating that Cheyenne Bryant may be the Miss Doubtfire of psychology with less credentials than Dr. Pepper, and the D in front of her
Damn.
name may only stand for Dominican Republic, Cheyenne Bryant went on the
Oh,
Breakfast
this is
Club
gonna
to
be fun.
clarify the misconceptions about her, her license, and also her being a doctor. And she says, simple explanation. The conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online. How are you responding to that in this new era of your life? I'm going to clear it up once on here. I'm not doing it again. And I'm clearing it up for my doc squad, for my fan base, for my...
Why you so combative about your credentials? If if you did the work, just all you gotta do is show proof of it. If you did the work, show proof of it. I don't see what's the problem. Let's continue.
my audience who deserve to hear me address it. For the folks who have already made up their mind to not like me or not understand me, listen, I don't give a what your narrative is. I would like for you to recreate it, double down on it, and win. Because I don't. Now, to my folks, my village, it's very simple. I went to a school, Argos University, completed an entire program. I went back online to official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my further transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go with
Okay.
just a third party that has the records. Why I contact the third party? That third party only holds records for 2 years. I was packed.
Come on. Come on, Cheyenne. You know good and well, if you did the work, you need is your degree to show proof that you finish. I don't even see what's the problem.
By 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted, financial aid. You can't make up financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program. And they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you your money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university, at this institute. There's DNA. Then there's heavy duty DNA. A program you took in this university, at this institute. So, do you want us to refund you? Or do you want us not? I said no. Because I didn't want to risk the chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program. Luckily, I had,
I call
to do this
cap
with
on
all of the
that.
schools.
I'm sorry. I don't know what she talking about. That this whole story she's giving does not. It don't even sound right. I'm sorry. I don't know what this chick game is, but I don't trust it.
Had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time, and I was able to get just about all of my transcripts, including up to like dissertation. But everything else, there's just no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up. Just
they are going to kill you online this week. Like I said, she has no records. They just want to hate you regardless.
No, that's fine. And it's not even that there's no records that I don't. The school had a third party that carried the records only for a limit of 2 years. So it's not me, it's any student that attended Argosy. But again, it doesn't, how can I say, it doesn't affect me because if I chose to go get a license as an LMFT, I have my master's in marriage and child therapist, I have my hours. I can just take that and say, hey, let me submit these for licensure, and I want to go sit for my exam, and I'll have to do a study. I don't need a doctorate in counseling psychology to go get licensed as a therapist. That's what we're all missing.
Okay, so as you can see, after Cheyenne Bryant explained that she satisfied all the requirements that were necessary to get her doctorate in her field, however, the school shut down, so she no longer has access to the transcripts to prove that she met the requirements. Thus, she's stuck in a loophole where she can't officially get licensed because she cannot obtain those official transcripts. DJ Envy, Charlemagne, and Lauren LaRosa was satisfied with her response, and they allowed her to continue practicing. Likewise, a whole lot of people online were also satisfied with Cheyenne Bryant's response. For example, one person said, "So nicely done and explained. Thanks, Queen." However, although Charlemagne, DJ Envy, Lauren LaRosa, and a few people online believed what Cheyenne Bryant was saying, a whole lot of other people who graduated from the Corey Holcomb School of BSology called Cheyenne Bryant out, and they were like, "Are you kidding me? This woman is lying 100%.
I'm the world's greatest. I'm the world's greatest. I ain't even trying to brag, but I'm just saying. Old girl, flat out, a hustler. I watch her when she word things. That stuff. He said you're not a real doctor. He said, yeah, you're not a real doctor.
No, so I have 4 degrees.
6 months later.
How many degrees you say you got?
6.
A lot of people don't know how to talk to her. I'll be like, are you a licensed doctor? I want to see you around there. You're not a registered doctor. It's been, everybody looked it up. A lot of people looked it up.
So I've been in private practice as a doctor of psychology for 17 years.
When somebody say Dr. Bryant, it irks me. Where's she a doctor at?
Have you ever heard somebody online say, "Trust me, I'm a doctor," and immediately thought, "Yeah, okay, then you need the Corey Holcomb School of BSology." At CHSU, students learn fake degree investigation, advanced lie detection, or take your education one step further by taking courses like, "I suspect this ninja is cheating 101. These 304s ain't loyal 202. Is this ninja on the DL 212? And our capstone course Internet Cap Analysis 301. Notice how she said studied at a university, but never said she graduated. Classic BS. And she said the school closed, so she can't get her official transcripts. That's that advanced level BS.
Yep.
For only
Straight
$19.99
BS.
$50 gas card, you can earn your fake online honorary doctorate in calling cap. That's officially accredited by the sauce. The Corey Holcomb School of BSology. Enrollment open today. Is it worth it? Let's see what some of our past graduates have to say about Cheyenne Bryant.
If Cheyenne Bryant went to college in Narnia, the witch, the wardrobe, and the lion, it is possible that that school disappeared. No, she lied.
Hell yeah, she won.
So I've been following the discourse surrounding Dr. Cheyenne Bryant on this app as well as on Twitter. And this clip came down my timeline on Twitter. And this was such a bad idea. I don't know why she would get up on that radio show. I get it, the Breakfast Club does hit a lot of different pockets of about the
She didn't
legitimacy
club any
of
damn
doctorate
thing.
degree. She only made it worse. It made people question you even further. Because to me, the question that was asked of her by Lauren was pretty simple. Lauren ended up asking Dr. Bryant, hey girl, the people are questioning the legitimacy of your doctoral degree. One of the reasons being that they cannot find your dissertation. What do you say to that? Dr. Bryant went around the world and you can't find her baby. Okay?
So you'll never understand because as a psychology expert with licensure, but I don't have the licensure because you only need that to diagnose. And I went to the university and then I was applying to be a professor at the law school as a PhD holder, my doctoral. Now, as I was getting my doctoral, I came back around. I didn't have the transcripts, but the dissertation, and then at that time I said therapy. And see, what you don't understand is you don't have to have licensure as a therapist for diagnoses because I'm a life coach.
No, she capping.
As a therapist for diagnoses because I'm a life coach. And as a psychology expert, what some people are never going to understand about me is when I came back to do that doctoral, and the doctoral of it all is the summation at the end of the day, jitterboos ain't going to never understand.
Dr. Bryant, you first came out on the various podcasts, whatever, and you were saying that you were no longer practicing under a license because you have less restraints and you did not want to be held to the restraints of licensure, and that you were previously licensed, but you chose not to go under licensure anymore, or whatever the case may be. And for a lot of people, that's when they got off the train. They was like, oh yeah, she bogus, whatever the case may be. Me, not so much. I'm one of those people that I understood how some people, based on you saying you were not licensed, will begin to call you bogus, but I was definitely willing to give the benefit of the doubt, especially considering the fact that she was showing up in a lot of entertainment talk spaces. I could definitely understand, especially considering if the money was good, how you didn't want to be quite tied up under the licensure stuff. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, something in the back of my mind was giving, ooh, girl, what you're saying is just a little bit spicy, and it's feeling a little bit bogus right here on the left-hand side, but because I like you, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and if that's what the lady said, then that's what it is. I was choosing, I made the conscious choice to override my spidey senses and go along with what you were saying when it came to the licensure thing. And I was like, okay, you know what? That's going to die down in a couple weeks. Sis still going to be getting her work. And it's all good. Now, I was laying in my bed today, minding my business like I always do. And then it popped up like it did, saying that she went to Odyssey University and the school shut down and wiped out proof of her doctorate degree. And I'm not going to hold you. If I'm being honest, the first thing in my mind was how fucking convenient. The first thing that went through my mind was how convenient that people call your credentials into question and then you tell the people you went to a university that's shut down. How effing convenient was that?
Alright, so after finding out that Cheyenne Bryant is out on these streets, practicing psychology without a license, giving you that Freud without the paperwork, one person went on her website and wrote, so you're unlicensed and unqualified. Wow. And then Cheyenne responded by saying, I'm the most sought out psychology expert / life coach in the world. I don't need a license for that, sweetie. Pre-order my new book, Live Your Promise. Link in the bio. And then after that, she jumped back
Anything
online
for
and
clout.
wrote, I don't need a license
Anything
because I'm
for
not a
clout.
therapist. I'm a psychology expert and life coach. I don't understand what's so hard for people to grasp about that. Coaches do not need a license. I do not identify as a therapist. My bio does not say therapist and my website does not say therapist anywhere on it. It clearly says psychology expert and life coach. Alright, so after Cheyenne Bryant got caught out there, she continued to try to gaslight people, but people in the comment section weren't having it. Because one person said, grifter and pseudo-doctor, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is a danger to the black mental health community and the black collective as a whole. She's nothing more than a delusional social media influencer. And then somebody else said, I absolutely love that everyone's seeing the fraud in Cheyenne Bryant. She's a detriment to the black community. After that, somebody else said, thoroughly enjoying the mental health community dragging, not a doctor, Cheyenne Bryant, since her appearance. Get that grifter out of here. After that, somebody else said, the way some of y'all are upset about people calling out Cheyenne Bryant is telling. And her being dismissed from school because she plagiarized her dissertation is even more insane. She's not licensed and wants to operate without ethics. That's an issue. But I digress.
Alright, y'all, let's talk about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. So it's come out that
wherever she allegedly got her doctorate degree is no longer an institution. I guess they lost accreditation, which means they're no longer recognized. It's also come out that she is not a licensed therapist at all. She's not a licensed therapist. She's not a licensed psychologist. She is not licensed to practice medicine in any way. So her response has been that she is a psychology expert, whatever that means. And she also stated that she is a life coach. So this begs the question, is she finessing or is she a fraud? Because she never said that she was a doctor. She calls herself Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, allegedly from earning a non-clinical doctorate degree. So, what y'all think? I mean, if Dr. Dre can be Dr. Dre, can Dr. Cheyenne Bryant be Dr. Cheyenne even though she is not technically a doctor? Tap in.
Okay, so here's the thing. Now that Cheyenne Bryant has gone on a Breakfast Club and said, quote unquote, technically, she did finish her doctoral program, but she can't get access to official transcripts, therefore, she can't get a license. A lot of people are confused. So confused that one person jumped in my comments section and said, Source, I just finished watching the Breakfast Club interview. Is Cheyenne Bryant a real doctor? Has she ever been a real doctor? Listen, the answer's no, and also, this woman sat up on TV and said that she's been practicing for 17 years as a licensed doctor of psychology, which was a stone-faced lie.
So I've been in private practice as a doctor of psychology for 17 years.
Now, we know that she was sitting up on that panel lying because you can't become a licensed doctor in psychology without submitting your official transcripts to the state. And she can't turn around and say that she used to be licensed, but then her license expired because once you submit your transcripts to the state always has your official transcripts on file. So it wouldn't matter whether or not the school shut down. Additionally, other individuals who went to that school and went through the same program have stated that they've been able to get their transcripts because all of those transcripts are digital and they were transferred to the state. As a matter of fact, Raquel Martin, PhD, wrote, just a heads up, any person who graduated from Arkansas University can request their official transcripts and will receive them. But be mindful, you can't make official transcripts say something that isn't true. Listen, let me tell you something. It is 2026. Unless you got her doctorate in 1805, there's no way to get your doctorate, including doing your dissertation, without there being some sort of digital footprint online. On top of that, all of the transcripts for the students who went to Argosy University before it closed down were transferred to a third-party vendor named Parchment. And Parchment holds on to those transcripts for more than 2 years because the whole 2-year window thing was not true. Anyhow, even if Parchment was to go out of business tomorrow, they would be required to transfer all of those transcripts to the state so that the state can hold on to them permanently as proof for all of the people who graduated from that university with a degree. And let's just say for fun that Parchment was to burn down tomorrow, everything burned down to the ground, all the paperwork. Aside from the fact that we use computers nowadays, you would still be able to get your transcripts from the Association of State and Provincial Psychology Boards, ASPPB. But let's just say you're one of those rare cases where your transcripts were sucked into the vortex and now they're somewhere swirling in space and you can't get to them. If a university is closed and official transcripts truly cannot be obtained, a psychology licensing board may ask for alternate proof, such as copies of diplomas or degrees, unofficial transcripts, enrollment verification letters, student loan records, financial aid records, internship/practicum documentation, course catalogs or syllabi, dissertation records, letters from former professors or administrators, verification from the school's record custodian or National Student Clearinghouse records. I mean, what is this shit talking about? Nobody in the history of getting a doctorate has ever been like, you know what? They lost my records, but forget about it. I'll just go ahead and do the same thing that I could have done with a community college degree. Let me tell you something. This woman right here is full of ish because Dr. Umar can prove that he did the work. He may not have maintained his license over the years, but he still did the work. Meanwhile, the closest that this chick has ever been to being a licensed psychologist is having a driver's license in her pocket while she sat down and watched The Sopranos on HBO and watched Tony Soprano's psychologist give him advice about birds.
I believe that Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is quite possibly the same personality type as Nick Cannon and Cameron. I believe that all three of you are serial monogamous with narcissistic tendencies. First of all, serial monogamy and narcissism go together. The narcissist, grandiosity, too important to commit one's emotional resources, to not want to invest emotionally. When I look at a woman that beautiful,
and even though I don't agree with Umar on a lot of stuff, I I agree with Umar on this one.
without a child. The marriage I can understand. It's like it's for sisters. That beautiful without a child, that was deliberate. And I believe that she may be an example of one of our sisters who says they're waiting for the right one, but may not necessarily be waiting for anyone at all. But because it's expected of me as a black woman to get married, justification for why I am not.
Now, if you noticed, as Dr. Umar was breaking down Cheyenne Bryant, he kept talking about her looks, which has made a whole lot of people say that part of the reason why Cheyenne Bryant is able to scam people so easily is because people gave her unearned trust because of pretty privilege.
There's a certain level of unearned trust that comes with pretty privilege that unfortunately I don't see going anywhere anytime soon. You, as somebody who is conventionally attractive, somebody who people love to look at, there's this trust that also comes along with that is a part of our nature.
Cheyenne Bryant is the prime example of your beauty and your looks can open doors for you, but it is your work ethic and your character that will keep you there. Ladies, it is not enough to be pretty. Now, please hear me out when I say that woman is gorgeous. Like every time I see her on a podcast, I stop to listen to what she has to say because she's just good to look at. That's good for her. That has opened doors for her. That has put cameras on her. That has made her the center. When she opens her mouth, yes, she's got great wisdom, great points, but she doesn't have the credibility. She's not done the work to make herself official.
Hell no.
It is not enough to be attractive. It is not enough to look like you know what you're talking about. Eventually, people are going to find out. One of the most deceptive things about pretty privilege is that it will put you in places that other people that might be more qualified, you're actually in those places because you know how to be more charming. People like to look at you. People want to get in your good graces. But what's going to happen is you are going to lack the skill set. You're going to lack the knowledge. You're going to lack the hard work that it took for somebody to actually be in that position.
They say the reason that you don't get questioned or tested as much is because of your quote-unquote looks.
I said this last time I was on, you might be my alter ego brother. Because some of the stuff you say is just right up the alley of what needs to be addressed. So there's pretty privilege, and I've learned that there's pretty punishment.
What?
Oh my goodness, she knows how to put the spin on it, doesn't she? Anyhow, after all this controversy happened, Dr. Danny PhD, ADHD, CPTSD, jumped online and said this is simple. Cheyenne Bryant, if you are who you say you are and you have done what you say you have done, post your defense committee members, post your dissertation that was defended and approved by your dean, post proof of the degree conferred or a picture of the diploma with your name, degree, and date on it. If you graduated, you got a certificate or diploma. Post your unofficial transcript. Post the title and content of your dissertation and the results of your research. Post your IRB approval or project identifier. Anything. Any of these would work. Just one of them. Listen, she's saying that this is not the Department of Motor Vehicle. We don't need 7 pieces of proof. We don't need to see your permit, 1 piece of mail, your utility bill, your passport, your birth certificate. No, just show us 1 piece of
Okay,
proof.
man. I was wondering who that was.
Now, you know darn well that Cheyenne Bryant is sitting over there right now like, what? Committee members? I thought this was like undergrad, where you could do it all by yourself. You know something? I think that before Cheyenne Bryant came out and tried to drop this lie on the people, she should have watched Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Okay, so aside from the fact that people are online right now just shaking their head about the fact that this chick actually said that she's a doctor of psychology, now
people are starting to get even more upset because the more and more she tries to lie and cover up the fact that she never got a doctorate, the more people are starting to feel like she thinks we're dumb.
What's really infuriating me about this Dr. Cheyenne debacle is not that she's literally lying and playing in our faces about having a PhD, but this very community that she has built her brand on supporting and helping and healing, she is literally banking on us being so ignorant and uneducated and have such little access to higher education, even though black women are the most educated group in America. I digress. She's banking on us being ignorant and not knowing how the higher education system works.
Right.
Because anybody who has a tinge of access to higher education or a tinge of common sense would know that there's no way in the that you have went through a PhD program, much less written a dissertation, and there's no paper trail or record of it.
Let me tell you something. It's very obvious that Cheyenne Bryant is out here saying whatever she needs to say to get that paycheck. But it does leave me with two questions. One, how many lies does somebody have to tell you before you consider them to be a liar? And two, if you went to a doctor's office and they wanted to do minor surgery on you and you were like, listen, let me see your paperwork, let me see your documentation, and they're like, oh, can't find it. Would you allow them to do surgery on you? And I know somebody out there is going to be like, Source, that's a dumb question. Because apparently if I walk into a doctor's office and there's a doctor in there, he's a doctor. Not necessarily. Do you guys remember that young black teen who was in a doctor's office pretending to be a doctor?
Malachi Love Robinson, the teen, marched out of his Florida clinic in handcuffs.
Malachi, they say you've been practicing medicine without a license?
Sitting down with ABC News overnight, released from jail early Wednesday morning on a $21,000 bail after being busted in a sting operation in West Palm Beach, caught allegedly giving a medical exam to an undercover officer. Are you a doctor of anything? Anything at all?
I do currently hold a PhD in what I don't feel comfortable disclosing because that is not the issue here.
Really?
What I face now is accusations.
The 18-year-old indeed facing serious accusations from police, 7 including grand theft, and allegedly practicing medicine without a license, and last month he proudly showed off his medical center to our affiliate WPFB.
This is the New Birth and Life Medical Center.
But peel back the tape and the sign on the door has his name and these 2 crucial letters, MD.
That sign on the door was actually due to be changed. There are many
Really
degrees
do.
out there that hold the title as doctor, whether they are a physicist or an engineer. Just because someone has the title doctor in front of their name does not necessarily imply MD.
Have you had training?
I have shadowed many doctors.
You're saying your training comprises
This dude is so full of cat.
shadowing other doctors, real doctors. That's your training in medicine.
Your training comprises of a lot of things.
But you weren't in med school.
Exactly. So I am not portraying as an MD. I've never said that I've gone to school to be a MD.
But the teen who goes by Dr. Love does advertise an array of treatments on his medical center website, including phototherapy, food and air therapy, and naturopathy.
I have been studying this particular field for a while. May not have been 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, but it has been long enough to, I would say, justify what I do.
Including apparently treating the elderly. In a criminal complaint, an 86-year-old woman said he recently treated her for severe stomach pain, paying him nearly $3,500. What services did you provide in exchange for that money?
I can tell you this. Accusations are merely accusations.
And notice how he's not answering the question. He is not answering the question in any way, shape, form, and or fashion. Just answer the question. It's not that hard.
Services, you'd have to define that. Whether she paid for me to just show up, that's up to her.
You're not denying the fact that she paid you $3,500 or so, correct?
No, I am denying that.
Are you a fraud? Because it seems like everything you're saying to me is either evasive or an outright lie.
I don't appreciate your tone. I don't appreciate the way you're
When.
this interview to actually be.
And then a moment we didn't expect. Are you in big trouble? I mean, it seems like you've spoken to a lawyer who has prepared you to talk not only to the media, but the police as well.
I don't know where you're receiving this information from, but it is inaccurate. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut this interview short. I'm going to have to cut this interview short.
And in fact, he did.
Hey, if you're
Of course he
finding it hard to
did.
properly relax, then I really recommend this Melville game. Short. I'm going to have to cut this interview short.
And in fact, he did.
Hold on,
Idiot.
because these scammers are off the hook. And he might be like 3-9 pretending to be a 16-year-old so that she could get the benefits.
Okay, I'm good.
News 12's Lindsay Channing joins us from Westchester Square Academy with the latest shocking details. Lindsay, really disturbing. Yeah, exactly, Marissa. Well, a 28-year-old woman successfully enrolled in this school and was going to class
How?
like she was a teenager. Her name is Casey
How?
Klassen. This is an exclusive photo of her getting arrested on April 27th, sent to us by someone with ties to the school. Now, more than a week later, we're finding out she allegedly lied about her identity and impersonated a teen. Now, according to the criminal complaint, Klassen is facing criminal impersonation and trespassing charges. Court records show she pled not guilty to both. The document goes on to say on April 13th, she enrolled as a student at Westchester Square Academy under the name Shamara Rashad with the birthday March 8th, 2010, which would make her 16 years old. The principal then saw a Facebook page with her photo and a different birthday and confronted her about it. He first asked her for her information. She said, "My name is Shamara Rashad. I'm 16 years old. I'm from Ohio. I came to New York with my sister." Then he showed her the Facebook page and asked if that was her. She said, "Yes. My real name is Casey Klassman, and my real date of birth is July 29th, 1997. I'm not Shamara Rashad. I'm not 16 years old. I lied about my identity because my friend forced me to. She was using me to receive more public assistance." Now, Westchester Square Academy is one of 6 schools on this campus. One of the schools, Lehman High School, sent out a letter saying there were concerns about the student's identity that turned out to be true. We spoke with some students at dismissal today to get their reaction. Many of them shocked.
That really puts a danger to our school, and yeah. This is insane. I don't know how to let her in. She's 30 years old. She looks 16, guys. Be careful and check IDs.
The Department of Education says they take cases of enrollment fraud very seriously and is providing support to the school community at this time. Meanwhile, police sources say that this case is involved with benefits fraud or scamming. Right now, Klassen has no record and is not in custody. She's due back in court on June 15th. In Frontenac, Lindsay Channing. Marissa, back to you.
Although most of us have not gone back to high school pretending to be a 16-year-old or jumped online lying saying that we have a doctorate when we really don't because we can't find those transcripts.
Right.
There is a valuable lesson to be learned here. And that lesson is this. The scammers are out in full force, and they will do and say anything to get your money out of your pocket and get over on the system.
Straight up.
Listen, let me know what you think about everything that we discussed in today's video, and while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. And also, if you should feel so inclined to do so, I'm gonna need you to hit that hype button and then enroll in the Corey Holcomb School of BS.
Here we go to Diddy's reactions.
Philly makes everything really feel good. Right now, get 4 phones for $0 plus 4 lines for just $25.
What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Dee Dee. Welcome back to the channel. Thank y'all so much for tuning in once again. So your girl is back with another video, child. Now we are back, child, talking about Cheyenne
Bryant, baby. So Cheyenne Bryant recently went on a Breakfast Club, y'all, and just exposed herself yet again. So social media is losing their minds because people are really going in on
I'll be
this
right back,
Cheyenne
y'all.
Bryant lady. This lady is still trying to defend her doctorate degree and whether she's a therapist or whether she's not. She was on the Joe Budden podcast when she said that you don't need, that she no longer has a license and you don't need a license. The license is just so that you can bill people. She's been all over social media trying to defend the narrative of her being a therapist and a doctor. And she's not doing a very good job. So people are calling her out left and right. We have real therapists out here who are countering what she's saying. People are putting her to the fire because she's been claiming that she's been a doctor or a therapist for over 17 years. And now people are debunking that, and people are not so sure if she's actually who she says she is. So we gonna get into it, baby. Shout out to Flacco. I want to play a bit of what Flacco had to say about it because he kind of laid it out beautifully, and I want to just react to his take on this whole situation. But once again, we have people like Tasha K, who called her out and said that she wasn't a doctor. We also know we had Corey Holcomb, who was very poignant and clear on the fact that this woman is not a doctor, and many others who have called her out as well. But seems like now people are starting to pay attention because things are just not adding up. But we're gonna get into it. I want to hear your thoughts on it. Make sure you comment in the comment section, like, subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Leave your thoughts. I definitely want to hear from y'all. Make sure you hype up the video, share the content, you guys. Support the channel via Cash App or Super Thanks. That would definitely help the channel to grow. Baby, let's get into it, y'all. Let's get into this video. Here we go.
I've been in private practice as a doctor of psychology for 17 years.
When somebody say Dr. Bryant, it irks me. Where's she a doctor at?
Conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online.
There's just no holding take for any of our records.
Because I've done the research. I don't see doctor nowhere.
They
are going to do you online this week. Like I said, she has no records.
I don't need a doctorate in counseling psychology.
Now, before we move on, I wanted to look up whether you need a doctorate to practice psychology or to be a therapist or whatever, what she just said. And, many people are speculating about this, but I wanted to look it up just to see what came up. And it says here, it says, yes, a doctorate, PhD, or PSD is required to practice as a licensed counseling psychologist, right? And use the title psychologist in most states. However, you do not need a doctorate to be a therapist, is what it's saying. It says you do not need a doctorate to be a therapist, a counselor, or a mental health professional, as those roles can be filled with a master's degree. Now, it goes on to say, though, if you are in an independent practice, which I think that is what Cheyenne is doing, it's independent practice. It says to work for yourself without supervision. So what she does, she counsels people. I don't think that there's supervision. I don't think that there's any of that. She's doing it pretty much as an independent practice, I would like to think, from what she said. It says to work for yourself without supervision. You need a doctorate. You need that doctorate degree. So you would need to have a doctorate if you are an independent practice. You work for yourself without supervision. If you have an official title, to call yourself a psychologist, you would need to have a doctorate. Also, to specialize in specialized roles, to perform complex psychological testing, assessments, forensic evaluations, or hold university faculty positions, you would have to have a doctorate. And the duration for these programs typically take between 5 to 7 years to complete. So if you call yourself a psychologist in any of those things, if you want to have an official title as a psychologist, if you want to practice an independent practice, specialized roles, specialize in certain roles, you have to have a doctorate. So you would have to have that if you're
the only way that she would be able to operate without a license, without the doctorate, is or a license. If she doesn't have a license, is if she has somebody if she's in an independent practice and she has somebody who is working with her, if she's under supervision. That's what it's saying. So she would have to be under supervision. If she doesn't have a license, she would have to have supervision, especially if she's.
To make the all-new GTS, Titleist pushed everything. To create our longest driver ever, the all-new Titleist GTS.
Even though I do take medications, I still experience symptoms of narcolepsy type 1. I still experience just that sleepiness feeling every day.
Symptoms I still experience, regardless of the medication, is cataplexy.
One of my symptoms that I deal with, regardless of the medication, it's this balance between the dream state and reality. I literally live my life by a clock. If she's working in a private practice, though, if she's not working in a facility under supervision, is what they're saying, she would then she don't have to have a license. But if you're doing anything privately and you're not supervised, you don't have other people working with you, you have to have that doctorate. You have to have that license. So it's getting this is a sticky situation, y'all. This is very serious, and I hope people are not just looking at it and saying, "Oh, well, she don't have to have a license." No, but if she's counseling people, she's working with people, she's definitely called herself a therapist. She's definitely called herself given herself this title, and to say she doesn't have a license, that would be considered illegal. So listen, I'm not a therapist. I don't have all of the information, but there are a lot of people who are speaking out, who have these credentials, who understand this field, who are speaking out, and what they're saying, it looks very grim and bad for Cheyenne Bryant. That's just my opinion. Now, whether people take heed to this, that's a whole different story. Whether people listen to this, whether people take this seriously, that's on them. But if she's doing this without a license and she don't have any proof that she's licensed to do this work, then that could be a criminal behavior. I'm just saying. But let's get into Flacco. Shout out to Flacco once again. Let's listen to what he's saying. Here we go.
One of the worst fake gurus and prosperity pimps on the internet, Cheyenne Bryant, went to the Breakfast Club this morning to respond back to the allegations that she's not a real doctor, and she's been lying and perpetuating that lie for financial gain and career advancements for years. Her rebuttal to these allegations that she's an absolute fraud and a fake doctor not only didn't help her case, but it completely dismantled her case, took away her credibility, and proved she's an absolute fraud. It did the opposite of what she intended. She inadvertently snitched on herself. Now, if you guys have not been following this situation, then let me break it down for you guys very briefly. Cheyenne Bryant listed herself as a doctor, paraded herself as a doctor. Now, her educational history is listed on her website. She says she went to the California State University at 17. Then she entered into a master's program at the University of Phoenix. However, that's written very specifically. She graduated that master's program and never listed what the master's program was. But she says she enrolled into a master's program, got clarity on what she wanted to do, and then enrolled in Aragos University and earned a doctorate. Now, what that clarity was, who knows? When she's saying she entered into the master program, dropped out, went to Aragos for a doctorate, who knows? Even in this other interview she did, look at how oddly and specifically written this is. She didn't realize what had triggered her interest until she entered the master's program at University of Phoenix. Never lists exactly what that program was or what the field was. She then says she was about halfway through the master's program and boom, it hit her. She had a lot of healing within herself that needed to be done. Dr. Bryant's desire for self-fulfillment, healing, peace, and balance within herself and others drew her to the field of psychology. Being the overachiever that she is, Dr. Bryant decided to pursue her doctorate in counseling psychology from Aragos University. You see how oddly written that is? This is the second time she never lists what her master's was in.
Yeah, and it's very vague. It's not clear. You know, she doesn't say what the master's is in. She doesn't even say if she completed it. She just says she was about halfway through the master's program, and boom, it hit her. She had a lot of healing and go off into this rambling. Is what she does a lot of the times. And then she went into something else, but it doesn't say she's completed her master's and she did this and she did that. And and what it was in or it's very vague. It really is. But a lot of times people put this stuff up here because they don't think that people are going to pay too much attention to it, and you get away with that. You know what I mean? And honestly, I think it's crazy. You know, I think it's
I'm gonna get into my thoughts on this and how people are promoting her and have promoted her without really doing their research, because a lot of people just care about views and clicks. They don't really get to the deeper discussions and the real. And I think in these types of situations, when you're having doctors and people who are claiming to be these things on your platforms, you have to be really, really clear about who they are and what they do, because you could be promoting something that isn't real, and I don't think that's helpful, especially in our communities. And we see this happen a lot, y'all. Let's continue.
Never listed if she finished the master's program.
Right.
Simply said she was enrolled in the master's program, then halfway through, boom, she found herself, self-fulfillment. Then she earned a doctorate. Excuse me? like what are we talking about here? Why is it so complicated to find out what this woman is? Then this week, a real doctor made a video exposing Cheyenne Bryant and the dangers of what she's doing online.
When evaluating anyone's credentials, it's really critical to look at two things: what their doctorate is actually in, and whether they hold a relevant clinical license. In this case, the person you're about to hear from is unlicensed. I'm going to break down why that matters and why this particular message is harmful, especially to the Black community that she claims to be serving and that I actually serve.
A license is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
That is incredibly misleading. Yes, you do need a license to bill insurance, but that is not why licensure exists. Licensure protects you. It means I have completed specific education and supervised clinical hours, passed rigorous exams, and I'm accountable to a regulatory board. If I breach confidentiality, if I cross ethical boundaries or harm you, you have somewhere to file a complaint and be sure that I'm held accountable. A license is not paperwork just for billing. It's a consumer protection. When someone drops or loses or no longer has a license, they're not solely avoiding the insurance hassle. They're also removing your recourse if something goes terribly wrong.
Right. I mean, that's just like we see fake cosmetic doctors, fake doctors who operate in the weasel their way in the system, and then they get in and they're fake doctors and they botch people or they cause harm to folks, and then they skate up out of there. You have no protection. If they botch your body, you have no protections. You're just botched. You don't have to figure it out because that person was not licensed. They were not a part of a board. There was no review. There was nothing. They just lied their way in and got in and was operating on people and causing harm to folks, and there's no recourse for them. Either if they catch them, they may do some jail time, but you are just stuck in the middle. So there's nothing that could be, you can't even, I mean, you could try to sue maybe the establishment for not vetting that person properly and having them working unlicensed. It's a lot of things that could go wrong with that, and I just think people need to pay close attention to it. And I hate to say that, in our community, we see this stuff happen a lot because people don't do their research. You just trust somebody because they're cute or they have a following. Everything is about a following, but don't really do the real research to see if these people are really legit. And that's is very important. If you're trusting yourself with the person, whether it's mentally, whether it's through physically, psychology, or however. Trusting a doctor to take care of you or whatever, and they're not licensed and they're just operating outside of that, then that is very, very dangerous. And it means that this person is untrustworthy. You can't trust somebody who will lie to you about their credentials and give you some information that sounds good, but they're really not licensed to do it. That's very dangerous. You have to be very careful. And so, once again, it takes away the trust factor with this person when you find out that they've been lying the whole time. Let's continue.
Not binded by BBS, the Behavior Board Science Rules and Regulations and Ethics. And so it just opened up a whole nother, floor in industry for me.
And she's also saying this like it's a good thing. I want to state something really important. Ethics codes exist to protect you from exploitation and boundary violation. And
this is a 10-minute video, but at the end of the video, the doctor essentially got to the bottom of Cheyenne Bryant is not licensed. She's not licensed to do therapy, so hence her charging for therapy sessions is wrong. Now, she also will list that Cheyenne Bryant knows this, so in some interviews she will call herself a therapist, while in some interviews she would list herself as a life coach.
As a therapist, two things. You can obviously make what you deserve because therapy is real. We're giving everything we have in there.
In her response, this prosperity pimp will say that she's never listed herself as a therapist. She's never called herself a therapist. We can go to her bio and see she don't have therapist listed in her bio because she don't call herself a therapist. Obviously, that's not true because we just played the audio of her calling herself a therapist. I've never seen a worse charlatan in my life. This woman is a charlatan. She's dangerous.
Yeah, this is crazy, y'all. There are a lot of people who are calling this out, who are using their logical brain to see past what she says and what she wants you to hear, and maybe and listen to what she's saying, and they're looking up the information, and they're realizing that this lady is not, well, she basically exposed herself. She said she's not licensed, she doesn't have a license, but now she's trying to excuse the reasoning behind her not having a license, and making it seem like it's okay when she's clearly said she was a licensed therapist, all of these things. She's studied for 17 years. Like, she's clearly said it, and there's proof of it. And so this is a dangerous, slippery slope. And I think, she could be held liable for this if she's, practicing privately and giving therapists advice, or treating people and getting paid. This could be an illegal thing, and she could be held liable for this. Now, if anybody who she's giving therapy sessions to decides to report her, or decide that or look her up and see that she doesn't have a license, this could be an issue for this lady. And so I just think, once again, there are people who have been calling this out. This is not news for some, but now it's starting to get around, and people are starting to wake up and realize, oh my God, this lady could allegedly be a fraud, child. Oh my God. That she's not who she say she is. And so, listen, I think it's unfortunate. And, my thing is, why not just go do the work and really get your license, and really, be about what you say you are, so that you can handle business in an appropriate manner, as opposed to trying to, lie to people and get over on people. It's just crazy to me. If you don't have a license to do this stuff, you shouldn't be operating in that realm. And that's just what it is. And there are other Black therapists who are coming out, women who are licensed. I think those women should be put to the forefront. I think those women we should shed a light on them, because maybe they could actually help somebody, because they actually have the credentials to do it. And I think that's important. And we need to stop wasting time on people just because they look good and there's the glitz and glam behind it, and they're all over the place, presenting themselves. We got to stop thinking that because you're at the forefront and you look good, that you're all about what you say. And also, just vet people properly. It's easy to look up a person's credentials. You can look to see if somebody has a license. It's plain and simple. She's made all these excuses about, she couldn't, the last 2 years she didn't, she said she didn't have her transcript. It could still be looked up, even if the school was closed. She acts as if she's the only person that's going to school, that she don't realize there are lots of people who understand this process and who have been through it. Many people have spoke out in the comments of these videos and talked about how they went to that same school she went to, and they were able to get their transcripts like nothing. It was, they had to go through a little rigmarole because the school is closed, but they were still able to get their credentials, their transcripts. So the fact that she's saying she couldn't get the last 2 years of it, that's BS, and everybody knows it.
It's a lie.
We gotta stop putting these people on a pedestal and thinking that they're incapable of lying or incapable of doing something wrong just because you like their presentation.
Exactly.
And start looking at the real information. That's all. If your information is legit, it's gonna show it. If it's not, we ain't gonna be able to find it. Which this is something that you should be able to easily look up, and it's not there. And there's no excuse for that. And I think she knows that, but she's still going to try to push it. And then the fact that she was like, on the Breakfast Club, she was like, I don't give a F. That is the worst way to think right there. That is not the way you approach the situation. That's how, once again, you start to realize, wait a minute, something is up with this. Because she don't give a F what nobody thinks. Why? Because people are looking deeper now, and they're exposing something that just doesn't add up. Now you don't give a F? I mean, like, come on. What type of therapist is that? You know what I'm saying? Or counselor or whatever. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. And also, I think what the problem is, too, these major platforms are platforming these people without vetting them properly. You're bringing them on and giving them exposure, but not vetting them properly, instead of vetting them and looking up the information and bringing it to the forefront, instead of just looking over it because you want views, or you want this person on your platform for whatever reason, because they look good or whatever. I don't know, but I think a lot of these major platforms do a disservice to people as well, because you shine a light on this person, further making this a worse situation. Because now when people see these folks on these major platforms, they think, oh, she's legit. Oh, she's real, the real deal, and they just go off of that. Now, mind you, we can't put it all on them on the platforms because yourself, you have to do the investigation. You have to, really look into this person yourself. You have to do the work yourself. If you looking to hire this person for therapy or whatever, you have to do the work yourself. So I'm not gonna put it all on them, but I think they do a disservice. They add to the problem because they don't vet these people, or they just don't care. And you take their word for it, and you're just making them bigger and bigger and bigger, which allows them to keep on doing what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? While real therapists, people out here who can really help, don't get the push, don't get the shine. They nobody know who they are. But we should be looking at the women and the men who are actually putting in the work and put them to the forefront, put them on the platforms because they could actually help somebody. That's all I'm saying. But baby, this is crazy. This is taking a turn for the worse for Miss Cheyenne Bryant, child. Baby, I don't know how this is going to end up, but it's out there. More and more people are realizing that this is a alleged sham and a scam, and they're not here for it. More and more people are realizing this is some shady business. That's all I'm saying, allegedly. But listen, I want to hear y'all thoughts. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell to be notified when I upload new content. I go live, you guys. Make sure you have...
And here is some on red wine. Let's get it.
Want to break into cybersecurity but don't have experience? The Google Cybersecurity Certificate uses real-world scenarios to teach you technical skills. You'll be able to step foot in your first job and feel comfortable and confident in the skills that you've learned in this certificate. Enroll today.
There are trucks, and then there's the 2026 GMC Sierra. It's the truck.
Okay, I'm back, y'all. Come on.
Hey y'all, I'm your legal bestie, attorney Simone, and in this video, we're gonna hop right into it. This video is a response to Dr. Cheyenne Bryant on The Breakfast Club, where she is.
I wouldn't even call her doctor.
No one can seem to find any evidence.
Her name is
she completed
Cheyenne.
her dissertation, and in other words, that would mean she's not actually a doctor. Now, let me preface it by saying this. Unlike a doctorate in, let's say, law or that type of area, for a doctorate in psychology, which is what she claims to have, you have to have two things. You have to complete the coursework and you have to have a dissertation. Now, for her particular specialty, it's called the dissertation is a clinical research program is what they call, but it's a dissertation. Throughout this video, I'm going to use the term dissertation throughout just because it's simpler. But we're going to start by, I'm going to actually play the clip from The Breakfast Club. I'm going to play it in its entirety. This is just the audio. And if by chance YouTube makes me cut this audio out because it's Breakfast Club, I'm still going to give you the analysis. So I'm going to play the audio all the way through. It's only about 2 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to give my commentary and the receipts. Things you can obviously make with you. Here we go. Just remove this one.
Come on.
Clear. Remember, she comes in hot, okay? She is livid. She's mad at all of us. How dare we question her qualifications? Here you go.
The conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online. How are you responding to that in this new era of your life?
I'm going to clear it up once on here. I'm not doing it again. And I'm clearing it up for my doc squad, for my fan base, for my audience who deserve to hear me address it. For the folks who have already made up their mind to not like me or not understand me, listen, I don't give a fuck what your narrative is. I would like for you to recreate it, double down on it, and run that shit. Because I don't give a fuck about it. Now, to my doc squad, my fan base, my folks, my village, it's very simple. I went to a school, Argos University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go and look, there is a third party that has the records. When I contact the third party, that third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted, financial aid. You can't make a financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program. And they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you your money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university, at this institute. So, do you want us to refund you? Or do you want us not? I said no. Because I didn't want to risk the chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program. Luckily, I had, done this with all of the schools. I had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time, and I was able to get just about all of my transcripts, including up to like dissertation. But everything else, there's just no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up.
They are going to kill you online this week. Like I said, she has no records. They just want to hate you regardless.
No, that's fine. And it's not even that there's no records that I don't. The school had a third party that carried the records only for
You sound so full.
So it's not me, it's any student that attended Argosy. But again, it doesn't, how can I say, it doesn't affect me because if I chose to go get a license as an LMFT, I have my master's in marriage and child therapist, I have my hours. I can just take that and say, hey, let me submit these for licensure, and I want to go sit for my exam, and I'll have to do a study. I don't need a doctorate in counseling psychology to go get licensed as a therapist.
Okay. Now it's time for the truth. Let's roll this back. We don't need to hear her cuss us out. But here we go. We're going to start here. Then I'm just going to pause it and share facts. Oh, no, we don't need her cussing me no more. Her village. What's interesting, she does call it her fan base. She doesn't call them her clients or her patients.
I went back online to get my official transcript.
Let me roll this back. Okay. Now let me say this before we get started. There are two things I want to clarify from my prior video that I did on this. Number one, I made a statement that many interpreted as to me saying that you have to have your master's before you can get your PhD. No, I'm sorry if I miscommunicated that. What I wanted to say was that, or communicate, was that previously, back in the day, like about 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, it was generally that most PhD programs wanted you to have your master's. But no, it is not mandatory to have a master's before you complete your PhD. And secondly, in the last video, I talked about the fact that one of the reasons that she can't get licensed was because her university lost accreditation before she got her degree. Now, in this interview, she's saying, nope, when she got her degree, it was accredited. So I'm going to correct that because what I saw online is that she received her doctorate. If she received it, it was in 2019. I found new information, actually, that shows it was likely, if she received it, it was before then. So her saying at the time she got her doctorate, it was prior to accreditation. We're just going to roll with that assumption.
My village is very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program.
Now, I'm going to stop her there. In order to complete the program, there are two steps. The first is you do your coursework, but the second is you have to draft a dissertation, and then you have to defend it, and it has to be approved. If you don't get your dissertation approved, you're not a doctor. It's an incomplete degree. You completed the classes, but you are not a doctor. You do not have a doctorate. You cannot call yourself doctor unless and until your dissertation is accepted.
Went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there.
Now let's start with that. Okay. She has already said she is an unlicensed person, an unlicensed therapist, basically. She has no license, she has said this, but that she has a psychology PhD, basically, a doctorate of psychology. Here's the thing. I was a law school professor. I went to law school, I was a law school professor. Why in the world would a law school hire an unlicensed psychologist? That makes no sense. There is literally nothing in the law school curriculum that would require an unlicensed psychologist. You're not a therapist if you don't have a license. Let's start there. There's nothing that would require that in a law curriculum. More than that, you couldn't even lead a class. For example, if the class is on expert witnesses or any of that, you couldn't lead that course either because I couldn't hire you to be an expert psychologist because you're not a licensed psychologist. I would be kicked out of court. Literally, if I put her on an expert list, the opposing counsel would get her disqualified because she's unlicensed. Just you taking classes that are in a PhD program is not sufficient for you to be a licensed therapist, including in the state of California where she's based. It's unlawful for anyone who does not have who is not a licensed therapist to even call themselves a therapist. And And here you go. If you don't believe me, it literally says in California, it's illegal to use the title therapist, psychotherapist, or other licensed designation if you're not licensed by the Board of Behavioral Sciences. Unlicensed individuals cannot diagnose or treat mental illness and must not imply they are licensed. So keep that in mind. You can't call yourself a therapist if you are unlicensed, which she is.
Dealing with information overload, Notebook LM can turn dense documents into dialogue with audio overviews, visualize connections from scattered sources with mind maps, and more. Surface new insights from your sources with Google Workspace.
Oh my jeez. It's the new OMG.
Come on. There we go.
She is. So now she goes on to elaborate on applying for this law school job, allegedly, and the difficulty she had getting her records. Mind you, remember the initial question was, people are asking if you're actually a doctor because they cannot find your dissertation. So here we go. I went back online to get my official transcripts. I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, that's correct. They were shut down in 2019. Oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go, look, there's a third party that has the records. When I contact the third party, that third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had... So that sounded crazy. To me. So I looked up the California code, which would be relevant because that's where she was based when she went to this program. In California Education Code section 94900, it actually states that the standard for permanent records is for every student granted a degree or certificate, the institution must maintain permanent records of the degree or certificate granted and the date it was granted, the courses, units upon which the certificate or degree was based, and the grades earned for the student in each course. Now, that's only though if you got the degree, then it has to be permanent. There's a shorter time frame if you just took classes there and didn't finish. For example, if you did the coursework for your PhD but didn't defend and complete your dissertation, then in fact they may hold the records for a shorter time. But if you actually defended your dissertation, then they, under California law, are actually supposed to keep your records. In addition, I noticed this comment from someone who wrote, girl, you lying. I attended Argosy, and yes, they are closed, and I can still get my transcript. All right, so then she only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted, financial aid. You can't make a financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program. And they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you the money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university, at this institute. So, do you want us to refund you? Or do you want us not? I said no. Because I didn't want to risk the chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program. Luckily, I had, done this with all of the schools. I had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time, and I was able to get just about all of my transcripts, including up to like dissertation. Okay, up to the dissertation. Well, that's everything that you need. Hell, you still haven't answered the question.
That's all you need.
Did you get your dissertation? Listen, everyone I know who did a dissertation can spout off the title of the dissertation because they lived and they breathed it for years as they were working on it. Whether it was 1 year, 2 years, whatever, 5 years, whatever. My best friend, I know her topic. That was like 15 years ago or something, 10 years ago. But still, I know her topic. I can tell you her topic. So the fact that she can't say, oh, my dissertation was on such and such and such, blah, blah, blah. Also, if they're telling you, if I give you your money back, it wipes away the degree. But you're telling me they can't give you a transcript. That luckily you already had copies of the transcript and records and even the dissertation stuff you're saying here, then why do you care if they give you your money back? Because they're not giving you an official transcript from what you're saying here because it doesn't exist. I say, give me my money back. And then to the extent that I have to argue with people over whether or not I have this, well, I got a copy of my dissertation and I will submit that along with, if you have a dissertation, you're sponsored, you're supported by professors. So then I would just go to whoever supported and oversaw my dissertation, and I'd have them write a letter on some official letter for whoever they work for now, whatever they do now. They didn't have to be with the university, and that person could substantiate my dissertation. So none of that was done. But also, I came across this. So this is a website that actually breaks down, the title of it is Argosy Closed, What Can You Do First? What students should know about their loans. And basically what it goes down to explain is that in order to qualify to have your school loans completely discharged for federal loans, it says you must have been enrolled in Argosy at the time of closure, which would have been 2019, or on an approved leave of absence from Argosy when the school closed. Like, I don't know, maybe you're working on redefending your dissertation because it had not been accepted. It says, or the university closed within 120 days of when you withdrew. Okay? And then what disqualifies you from the school discharge is, quote, it says, you completed your coursework or program at Argosy University, even if you didn't receive a diploma or certificate, meaning you did everything you were supposed to do. But what sounded more like what they were talking about when they told her, we can do this, we can give you the money, but we can give you the money back, basically, but your credits won't count. It sounds more like she was trying to perhaps transfer to a different program of study or basically to a new school with the same or different degree. Now, it says if you are trying to transfer, for example, transfer to somewhere else because you hadn't finished your dissertation, if you want to do that, it would make you ineligible to get all your money back, because it says when transferring, you typically can't use all the credits that you've earned. We know that. And the school you transfer determines which credit. So it doesn't make sense that they'd say, we're going to wipe out your degree if you're going to, if you want your money back. It sounds more like she may have been in a situation where it was, I am considering perhaps transferring my credits elsewhere, which too would make sense. And when she said she talked to financial aid, she probably means FAFSA or something like that, because obviously if the school is closed, so is their financial aid department. But hold on, there's more. So she goes on to say this.
But everything else, there's just no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up. Just
they are going to kill.
Yeah, we're gonna kill you. Yeah, the no hold. That's interesting, because this is what I found. So remember, the initial question was simply, how come no one can find your dissertation? And her response is, because the school closed, there are no records. They did such a bad job of keeping the records, she couldn't even get her transcripts. So I went to the website. It's called ProQuest, is one of the main websites. There's a number of them that you can go to find dissertations. So I went and I just put in Argosy University. You see that here. And then I went down to source type and I clicked dissertations and theses. There are 329 results. 329. That is 329 different dissertations that you can find. Going all the way back to 2003. If she did her program, and I'm going to go ahead and say this, I believe you'd be a sociopath to pretend to have attended a university you didn't at least attend. So I do believe she attended. But this shows right here that there are 329, keep going, all these different topics. The effects of investment activities of multinational oil corporations, Argosy, the criminalization, hypothesis, blah, 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 of mental illness in correctional systems. It goes on and on and on, and there's more. So then I said, well, let's open up some of these bad boys. Let's see what these people over here are talking about, okay? Mm-hmm. So then, let's see. One of them that I found that was particularly interesting was this one. It was submitted to the faculty. It says here of Argosy University. This was their Tampa campus. It says in partial fulfillment of the requirements. This one was for a doctorate of education by Desmond Joseph, August 2014. Okay. It goes on, it gives you the topic, the effects of premarital counseling assessments on marital satisfaction. We can find his. So I thought, well, maybe because she was in a different program or something, maybe that was it. But no, guys, there's more. And I found this one. It's actually it's by Dr. Nikita Langster. Now, she's a doctor. Argosy. This is San Francisco Bay Area campus of Argosy. Dr. Cheyenne is from the Bay Area, so she would have been in that same program. The title of this dissertation, Treatment Effects for Trauma and Survivors of Genocide, War, Conflict Resolution, a clinical research project. So in Cheyenne's program, what they have to do is it's called a clinical research program. It says clinical research project submitted to the faculty of the American School of Professional Psychology at Argosy, San Francisco Bay Area, in partial fulfillment of the requirements for the degree of a Doctor of Psychology. Alameda, California. And Alameda area, that's where Dr. Cheyenne was she was the president of the NAACP over there. Anyhow, so I say that to say, you see, look, and you've got the professors, the chair people, the professors that worked and oversaw her are listed there. All this. So apparently there are dissertation records. There's lots of them out there. They're out there for people who received their degree and are practicing. And this is actually, so then I went ahead and I just did a double check. This is Dr. Lakita's, this is her website. She performs therapy services. This is her. She's actively participating. She's got licenses. Look at all the places she's licensed. Go figure. Okay. Now.
A bachelor's degree doesn't have to put your life on hold. Not only does WGU have a generous transfer policy, but you get to complete coursework whenever works best for you. Study and take tests on your lunch break, after the kids go to bed, or with your morning coffee. Learn more and get started at wgu.edu.
Come on. There we go.
So let's continue with the rest that she said. So we've shown that there actually are records available. There are specifically dissertation. Look, I don't care about your transcript right now. I just want to know, where'd you get your dissertation in? Because you can't be a doctor. You cannot have a doctorate in counseling in psychology without that. That's all I want to know. So next she says,
She has no records. They just want to hit you regardless.
No, that's fine. And it's not even that there's no records that I don't. The school had a third party that carried the records only for a limit of 2 years. So it's not me. It's any student that attended Argosy. But again, it doesn't affect me because if I chose to go get a license as an LMFT, I have my master's in marriage and child therapist. I have my out.
Okay, so now let's talk about that. The license, she said, I had my license in marriage and child therapy, whatever it is. She said, what? No, what? Let's hear. Did she say she had her license? Oh, let's see. She said she had a license in it. There we go.
If I chose to go get a license as an LMFT, I have my master's in marriage and child therapist.
She says, if I chose to get one as an LMNT, she says,
hours. I can just take that and say, hey, let me submit these for licensure, and I want to go sit for my exam, and I'll have to do a study. I don't need a doctorate in counseling psychology to go get licensed as a therapist. That's
absolutely true. You don't need a doctorate. That's why we're all confused by this. But it appears, but what she's saying is that she could simply get it under her master's. But there's no proof of that either. See, I pulled up her LinkedIn, and that's really strange because nowhere in the history of anywhere, here it is. I don't know anyone who has a doctorate and has no LinkedIn. Their LinkedIn just don't have nothing on it. So let me go ahead and share that one with you. Here it is. This is the LinkedIn. And And clearly she's taken everything down. But why would you do that? If you went to those schools, why would you take down your doctorate? Now, all it says is that she went to Cal State Northridge from 05 to 09. She's acknowledged that that's where she went to school. That is not a surprise. And if we go to her own website, which is here, in her own biography, right? This is her website. We're going to go by her words. It says she attended Cal State Northridge at 17, where she got a double degree in psychology and Pan-African studies. Cool. Then it says during her 2 years, she was undecided as to what field she'd pursue. Organically, she chose psychology. She wasn't quite sure why, however. It says she didn't realize what had triggered her interest until she entered the master's program at University of Phoenix. She was about, it says
Which
she
is a
entered
scam.
the program. Nowhere in here does it say graduated. It then says she was about halfway through the master's and boom, it hit her. She had a lot of healing within herself that needed to be done. It is alleged she never finished the master's. That is my point here. And then it goes on to say Dr. Bryant's desire for self-fulfillment, healing, and peace and balance within herself and others drew her in the field of psychology. Being the overachiever she is, she decided to pursue her doctorate in counseling psychology from Argosy. It never on her own bio says earned it, received it, any of that, okay? But going back to the issue of her saying, I don't need a doctorate to be a therapist. I could just
That
use my
don't even
master's.
make sense.
If you pay attention to what she said, though, she says, I had my hours. She says, I had my hours. If I want to, I can just go and sit for the exam. Hold on a second. But you did that a long time ago. So, first of all, she's saying she used to be she was a licensed marriage and whatever therapist. She says that. You can't be licensed if you hadn't already sit for the exam. So that's not jiving. Plus, I want to play this clip for you from the Joe Budden podcast where she talks about it. Okay. There we go. As she says. And what we're going to focus on is a portion where she talks about her master's degree and being a therapist.
Therapist, I started off as a marriage, child therapist about
She started off as that type of therapist. Girl.
18 years ago.
She started off as a therapist 18 years ago. Marriage and family therapy, right? How, girl, 18 years ago would have been 2009. And remember, she said if she wants to be licensed, she has her hours, she can just go sit for the exam. If you've already been licensed, that's not what you say. If you've already been licensed, you say, I was licensed, my license expired. I can renew it at any time by submitting the appropriate paperwork. It could be renewed therapy hours. It could be various things. You don't say, I go sit for the exam. You know when you sit for the exam? When you never took it before. And if you never took it before, it means you weren't actually a therapist then. And she says 18 years ago. Well, you know what makes more sense is that 18 years ago, when she was in that program, because I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, she was in that program, she would have been, if any therapy she would have been doing, it would have been as an intern in the program. That doesn't make you a therapist.
It don't.
Absolutely means you
It
are
don't
not
make you a
providing
therapist.
licensed therapy because you hadn't finished your program 18 years ago. The math isn't math then.
It's not.
Not only that,
And
she's
never
going to go
will.
on later and talk a bit more about her therapy experience. But remember, if you're not licensed, you can't call yourself a therapist ever. Ever. So she shouldn't be referring to herself in that way, but continue. This is from the Joe Budden podcast clip.
I obtained my doctorate degree in counseling psychology.
Okay, so she says, let me roll it back a little more.
Before I obtained my doctorate degree in counseling psychology.
That's it.
Before I obtained my doctorate degree in counseling psychology, once I became a doctor of psychology, I transitioned from a therapist to a psychology expert in private practice. And so,
Okay, there's no such thing as a psychology expert. You're either a psychologist or you're not.
Exactly.
You can be a life coach, but a life coach is not a psychology expert. That is literally not a thing. And then to say, I transitioned to private practice. Everything you do would be private practice unless you're working for like a hospital or a school. So it sounds more like what she's saying is, I was an intern, and as part of my intern hours, as part of my master's program, I was seeing patients as an intern, but she hasn't said those words. And then saying, I transitioned into private practice. Well, both of that would have been, if she was licensed and not working for a hospital or a school, if she was licensed providing therapy, it wouldn't be, that would be private practice too. It wouldn't be transitioning into it. Stay with me.
I no longer practice under a license.
She says, I no longer practice under a license. That's why we're having this conversation. The end result is the facts show there's no evidence she ever had a license. And just to confirm, I did a search on the California website. Her name pops up nowhere. On the California website that you use to search for licensed therapists, she's not listed. She's not there. I don't know what to tell you. There's this one where you do a member search. No records matched your criteria. None. Because she's not licensed. But then you can also go to this website in California, the DCA website. And I put in the name Cheyenne Bryant. It's got some Cheyenne Bryants, but this one is a beautician. We've got someone here who is a, let's see what else we got. We got beauticians, we've got barbers. Scroll on down, and these are other names. I put in Cheyenne Bryant. She doesn't pop up, but what I want you to see is this. Look, there's a Cherise Bryant. She had one of some type. It's canceled because it's expired. This was a security guard license, whatever. This is public health care nurse license. That one is delinquent. My point is, if she previously had a license, as she's claiming, and is choosing now to practice without one, what we would simply see is that it's expired. And she'd say, it's expired. For me, when I went to law school, I took the bar, and I'm licensed in, I passed the bar in New York, New Jersey, and Texas. My license in New Jersey has expired because I haven't been using it. So I wouldn't say, oh, I'm unlicensed. I've never been licensed. I would say, oh, it's expired. All I need to do is submit the paperwork. Now, I cannot practice in New Jersey. That's correct. But I previously had a license. If you previously had a license, literally, that's what you say. So this really isn't making any sense. But I'm going to let her continue.
Right now I'm in private practice.
Making all the money now.
That's what I'm saying. Is a way that, as a therapist, two things.
Why is she calling herself a therapist? She keeps calling herself a therapist.
No,
when we've already
therapist.
established you're unlicensed, you can't call yourself a therapist. As a therapist, she goes on to say,
You can obviously make what you deserve, because therapy is real. We're giving everything we have in there. And we're unpacking shit, and we're helping you process.
those are all things that are only supposed to be done by a licensed therapist. Gosh, she's telling on herself. She's telling on herself. There's no more we need to know. I think we've got it covered here. I'll just let the clip play.
Let's do things. So it's not us sitting there with your an effective therapist saying, tell me more. You should be unpacking. And you should be able to take somebody and drive with them to their goal and give them tools. So,
and I think, at the end of the day, it was...
Now watch this. Now this part of the clip, one of the co-hosts refers to her as a therapist. This is 3 hours into the podcast, mind you. One of the co-hosts refers to her as a therapist because previously she's been telling y'all about her therapy and how she used to be licensed and da-da-da-da-da. And he says, now, as a therapist, and she says,
from other people about you being a therapist and practice.
So I'm a psychology expert.
Sorry, yes.
So then there she corrects him. I'm a psychology expert and life coach. Okay, girl. Now, there's one more little fun fact I wanted to share with you guys that I found really interesting. So remember, she said, it appears that she would have been in her program around 2017. I'm going to tell you why. I think it was the 2017 time frame. I'm gonna put the document on the screen. But remember, she was saying it wasn't until after they closed that she discovered they had closed and that she couldn't get her transcript. So she's getting all her paperwork together. But guess what? All her paperwork together after the fact. But the one paperwork she made sure she had done was this: her trademark for Dr. Bryant. She got her trademark. She applied for it in 2017 and got it in 18. I want to hear your thoughts in the chat. But what it seems like is that she went to the school, apparently didn't complete her dissertation.
Yep.
School closed and she felt like,
didn't get nothing.
No, no one's gonna know. I didn't finish. No one's gonna know. And that she wanted the doctorate for branding purposes. Now, I'm gonna read to you what's really interesting is when she applied for this.
Anything for money.
She knew good and well she wasn't no doctor. She knew good and well she wasn't no therapist.
Exactly.
Because if you read the class of goods, it's small. I'm going to read it to you. It says the class of goods is coaching services. I'm going to bring this close. Oh, shoot. My camera's off, so don't worry about that. But it says coaching services, specifically conducting it says conducting workshops and seminars in self-development, educational and entertainment services, namely providing motivational speaking services in the field of self-development, life coaching services in the field of self-development, providing group coaching services in the field of self-development. You know what it doesn't say she's going to provide? Counseling.
I want to skip on to this other thing from Simone Redwine. Let's get it. Be right back, y'all.
Have you lost your mind? Hey y'all, it's your legal bestie, Attorney Simone, and we are back with another update regarding Cheyenne Bryant with more receipts. Oh, stay tuned. You don't want to miss this one. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Also, remember, if you are injured anywhere in the United States, I am an injury attorney. You can call me at 855-4-SIMONE, SYMONE, or go to SimoneRedwine.com for a free injury consultation. Non-injury consultations start at $199 for 30 minutes. Now let's hop right into it. So there's been an additional clip, and we're not just going to get into the clip. We're going to get into some additional things, but there's an additional clip where Cheyenne Bryant is basically saying she don't have to answer to you. She answers only to Jesus. Jesus is her accreditation team. Jesus apparently is her dissertation advisor and all of the above. So we're going to play this clip real quickly, and then we'll get into the additional receipts and update. Here we are. So here's what she said recently. Now, this was on a TV show called The Marissa. I think it's Marissa. Yes, The Marissa Mitchell Show. And Dr. Cheyenne, she basically says, my proof isn't something I have to prove to individuals. And here's why. I've earned the title. I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything. She's earned it. Remember, we've already established from the prior video, I'll link it down below, that she did not graduate. So if you're new here, this isn't about licensure, right? The conversation started by finding out that she's basically been giving people therapy on television and otherwise for, according to her, over 18 years now with no license. She does not have an expired license. She does not have a current license. She states in prior interviews from the last video, I included those clips, where she says, I was previously licensed. I was licensed, in the past. She's actually never been licensed. I did the searches in that video, and if she were licensed, it would simply say she has an expired license. She does not. So let's keep listening.
Thing to anybody. My obedience is to God, not to people. And so as long as I'm in His will and I'm serving and I'm doing His word, my sheep will know my voice. Even the sheep in wolf clothing. That is not my battle.
Well,
That's
the
His.
questions that are out there, why not provide the proof of your degree? Why not?
Well, a couple of things, right? I have multiple degrees, and my thing is that my proof isn't something that I have to prove to individuals. My proof is already within my credentials, my degrees, and also more than just my titles, it's in how effective I've been. All of my sessions have been live, for the most part. My sessions with Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp, B. Simone, they have all been for the world to see. Right? So no one knew who Dr. Bryant was prior to seeing all of my sessions that were live. And they deemed it, as well as I did before they did it, they can't validate me, I validated myself, they deemed it as my work being effective. I've earned the title, I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. My obedience is to God, not to people. And so as long as I'm in His will and I'm serving and I'm doing His word, my sheep will know my voice, even the sheep in wolf clothing.
Okay, so that's what it is. So she's saying these online interviews that she's had, that's her therapy. That's what she is. Let's hear it again.
That is not my battle.
Well,
That's
with the
his.
questions that are out there, why not provide the proof of your degree? Why not?
Well, a couple of things, right? I have multiple degrees, and my thing is that my proof isn't.
There's actually been no proof of any of the degrees. I'm just giving her the benefit of the doubt and say she graduated with her bachelor's from California Northridge. I don't know. I don't care about a bachelor's at this point, but I just want to keep you guys in mind that her own bio stated that she attended the. We have it right here. It states that she attended the University of Phoenix, but there is no indication that she actually graduated. So it says here, organically, she ended up choosing psychology. It goes on to say, she didn't realize what had triggered her interest until she entered the master's program at the University of Phoenix. It never states that she finished and it says she was about halfway through the master's program and boom, it hit her. It says she had a lot of healing within herself that needed to be done. Then it says she started her doctoral program, as she calls it, her doctorate program. It's not doctoral. Dr. Bryant's desire for self-fulfillment, healing, peace, and balance within herself and others drew her to the field of psychology. Being the overachiever that she is, she decided to pursue her doctorate degree in counseling psychology. Counseling psychology, which means to be a counselor. You can't be a counselor in psychology without being licensed. Being a counselor and being a therapist in the field of psychology are synonymous. She calls herself a psychology expert, trying to avoid the fact that she didn't graduate. This isn't about licensure. That is important, but this is just repeating. Her own website does not state that she finished her master's, and it does not state that she received her doctorate. It says she decided to pursue it, and it also talks about what she did when she was halfway through the master's. Also note, with the master's program as well as the doctorate from this university, it's my understanding you have to complete some hours where you're working as a student therapist. And if you do that, there's a certain number that you would receive. That too would be documented, and there's no documentation of that either. So going back to her clip, the video clip, here we are, where she's saying she doesn't have to prove nothing, nobody but Jesus.
Jack Ryan, what do you know about stawning?
You mean an unsanctioned black ops team designed for psychological warfare, assassinations?
Let's shut it down. The Starling has been resurrected.
The storm is coming.
You ready?
Let's go cause an incident.
It's just like a very cool way to prototype extremely quickly. If I go here in Figma, I just have this design here that I pulled together. I can just take the link, I can copy a link to selection, and then I can go to Codex and I can just paste the link. Use the Figma skill to implement the automations page in my app. It was like 90% of the way there.
Nobody but Jesus. The interviewer here, watch the interviewer's face.
Something that I have to prove to individuals. My proof is already within my credentials, my degrees, and also more than just my titles, it's in how effective I've been. All of my sessions have been live.
No one can tell how effective she's been because she's only done one session with these people on national TV. And those people had commentary where they were basically trying to be polite because you don't want to insult your guests because then you won't get guests in the future, top quality guests. But nobody said, oh, she cured me, oh, she healed me, or oh, as a result of my meeting with her, I have now retained her to be my ongoing therapist. What we do have, though, are clips in which she continues to refer to herself as a therapist, despite it being illegal to do so, specifically under California law. If you are not licensed, which she has admitted she is not, you may not call yourself a therapist. I don't think you can call yourself a counselor either, but you cannot call yourself a therapist. She now, though, is referring to herself as a life coach and a psychology expert. Watch this clip. And now in this clip, she's referring to Ray J. Now, this is not a HIPAA violation because Ray J has already publicly, prior to this, come out and said that he has gone to her for therapy, further proving she has been unlawfully and illegally practicing as a therapist without a license, without having even graduated. And watch her refer to herself. In this clip, she slips up and instead of a life coach, refers to herself, the later part of this, as a therapist or as providing therapy to him. Here we are.
He has been with me for a long time. And Ray is just a person who is who he is,
Yes.
right? And that comes with a lot of misunderstanding.
Yes.
But I always say this, and I've said it to, just people and even my assistant and best friend here, that when you build a relationship with Ray, you start to get a clear understanding why the people who love him. Because he's just that genuine of a person. And with whatever tactics he has and that he does, Ray's the type of a man that when you are his person, like meaning someone he loves as a friend or family, or me being his psychologist doctor,
Here you go. Me being his psychologist doctor. You are neither. You have to be a psychologist. You must be licensed to be a doctor. You must have graduated. And let's be very clear. She cannot practice under her honorary degrees. My prior video actually shows you verbatim the language from the state of California that says honorary degrees do not count as earned degrees, and you may not advertise yourself as a doctor based on an honorary degree. You may not also call yourself, it's a misdemeanor in California to call yourself a therapist if you are not one. But I want to show you my new favorite photo of her. This is my new favorite photo. And hit that subscribe if you haven't already, if you're enjoying this content. Now, this is my favorite photo of her. You see this? This was a interview that she was doing. It was a Zoom. It was on mental wellness, mental health. She's got every accolade. She's got every perfect attendance trophy, every certificate of perfect attendance, of citizenship, of everything she's ever earned behind her head. And you see what we don't see there, guys? A diploma. See, your diploma would generally go right there back behind your head. Everyone I know, when we do YouTubes, when I used to do them out of my house, I'm not home right now, so I'm not near my diploma. Mine would be directly behind me or to my right or to my left so that it can be easily visible and readable. She's got magazine articles. She's got little Kinko's print-off award trophies. She got everything but a diploma. Because as we discussed before, while everyone else would have been working on their diploma, instead of getting her diploma, she decided to get a trademark. Why? Because this has always been about branding. This is about portraying that she is a doctor, even though she never graduated. I showed in the prior video how Argosy University, in her program, which was the doctorate of psychology, you have to complete a clinical research project. It's similar to a dissertation, but it is a written document. I did a search, 329 of them came up from Argosy University, including some going back to 2003, all the way to when they closed, okay? Including one woman who was in her same exact program. The Bay Area location of Argosy had, hers was there and visible from 2014. None exists for Dr. Bryant because Bryant, no longer doctor, but Bryant never finished. But here's what she got. She filed for the trademark because this was always about optics. Because she has stated before, there was a clip, I don't have it here, where she said she always wanted to be on TV. That God told her she was supposed to be on a TV program. Anyway, so I can't find it right now, but in that Threads clip, she's on there and she's saying that God told her she was going to finish her program. Remember, she always says, finish my program. People who graduate say graduated. So she was going to finish her program and she was going to get a show. This has always been about branding. But here's what really sucks is that because she is now stolen at this point the trademark of Dr. Bryant, a true doctor in the field of psychology, therapy, any of that, will not be able to use the title Dr. Bryant because she and her fraudulence, I don't even know if that's a word, she has now filed for this trademark, knowing good and well she can never actually, she's not a doctor, did not finish her program, but wanted to create the image because she was competing with other actual therapist doctors for roles as TV doctor therapists. You know, it's kind of like someone who went to law school because they wanted to be a TV lawyer. The difference is you can do that, but you're not running around saying, hey guys, I passed the bar when I didn't. You're not. You're not telling everyone to call you attorney so-and-so because attorney means you passed the bar and you're licensed. That's a huge difference. But here's the new tea. The new tea is that, I gotta put that up. Let's take this out. The new tea is that her publisher of her new book is not playing. So someone sent this to me. They had purchased her book and it felt like they were being defrauded. And so Hay House is the publisher of her new book. I'm not even going to say the title of the new book because I think that the book needs to be reprinted without the title doctor because that's fraud. You think you're getting an expert when really you're getting someone who has never legally been able to counsel anyone since they've ever been so-called practicing. And again, she's never legally, because she's never had a license, she's never been able to legally practice. That book needs to be reprinted as Cheyenne Bryant. And it can't be Cheyenne Bryant, Masters in Public, MPT or any of those initials because she doesn't have them. But you can send an email to editorial@Hay House right here on the screen with details about your concern. It says, including the book, title, author, and specifics about the false credential claim. And then guess what else? They're offering
Still taking yours?
every day.
Nature made to care for you every day.
They're offering refunds. Here's a clip. All right, I'm going to slow it down so that I can read it, but this is what I received. It says, hi, I'm a customer who purchased the book written by Cheyenne Bryant, and it's now been uncovered that she has a fake doctorate. She never graduated, but calls herself a doctor. I want my money back. This is false advertising. How do I get my money back? The publisher says, thank you for reaching out. Let me check on the refund process for your situation and get back to you. Then they say, you can request a refund within 90 days of purchase. Just go to the Hay House support page, click submit, pick orders, and include your order, your number, the book title, etc. Hold on, I'm going to let it all the way play for anyone who has any interest in doing that. But I thought that was very responsible of the publisher. All right. That was so good job, Hay House. I feel like they're doing the right thing. Because the refund will just simply apply to those who want it. You don't want it, you're fine if you do want it. But I think what's more important is it seems like they likely were victims too. Because what happens is when you have a certain level of notoriety, it's almost insulting to go and ask that person. There's probably no way that the publisher went and said, oh, can I have a copy of your diploma? It's just not something like you think about. I have been a legal expert on a plethora of different TV shows. None of them have said, hey, Simone, can I see a copy of your Cornell Law diploma? Now, when I went to go applied for a job to be a professor at a law school, they absolutely did. They wanted my information. But yeah, so now the publisher is actually issuing refunds and has created a complaint process for those who are unhappy and feel like they have been bamboozled and hoodwinked. They're stepping up. They are doing the right thing because they do not want to be accomplices in this. Let me know your thoughts in the chat below. Oh, and stay tuned. I have another related story coming out this week. It is an update on Basketball Wives, Christian Gold, and Jennifer Gold. And let's just say the feds are coming.
On Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Now, I wish I could play the clip for you guys, but the Breakfast Club, because they're such a big machine, their stuff is copyrighted, and the moment you play any of their stuff on your YouTube channel, you instantly get a copyright violation. and your monetization is not is taken away. So all I can do is read you a couple quotes and paraphrase the video clip as best I can before I give the commentary. But title is Dr. Cheyenne Bryant says Argosy University shut down and wiped out all proof of her doctorate degree. So Dr. Cheyenne Bryant's been quoted saying, I don't give a F-U-C-K what your narrative is. I would like you to recreate it and double down on it and run that shit, Cheyenne said, before explaining that the school where she completed her doctoral program allegedly shut down years ago, leaving her unable to retrieve certain records tied to her dissertation and her transcripts. According to Cheyenne, she was later offered a refund for the program, but claimed that accepting the money would have wiped out credit for the coursework that she completed. Completed. And I'm going to be very honest with y'all. When I was looking at the clip of Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, it's about a 3-minute clip, when I was looking at her deliver her stuff, my head turned like a confused dog. And then when she started cussing and carrying on and kind of getting into her, black girl attitude thing, I was kind of clutched my pearls and I was taken aback. Now, there's the first thing that I want to address before I even get into the meat and potatoes of any of this story. Whether your degree was accredited, not accredited, whether you could verify it or not verify it, if you got that shit from Argosy University, it wasn't worth the hill of beans in the first goddamn place. I don't give a good goddamn what nobody say. Argosy University is one of them raggedy ass online universities where essentially you go there and you pay for your damn degree. Now there are certain degrees that you can get from online institutions, right? An accounting degree, for instance. You can get an accounting degree from an online institution because accounting is one of those things, it's very mechanical. A debit and a credit is always going to be a debit and a damn credit. A bank reconciliation is always going to be a bank reconciliation. But when it comes to teaching people and giving people doctoral level education from Argosy University, I refuse to believe that the highest and the brightest of our scholars out there are teaching at goddamn Argosy University. Argosy University is the same goddamn thing as ICDC College, it's the same as DeVry, it's the same as all these other damn paid for damn college university situation. It is a raggedy ass online institution in the first goddamn place. So the fact that you even said Argosy, as far as I'm concerned, invalidated the damn degree before you could confirm it or deny it. That's number one. I had to get that off my chest. And I don't give a good goddamn which one of y'all went to Argosy University. Y'all can kiss my goddamn ass. That's a raggedy ass school, and your ass only went there because your about couldn't get in any damn where else, or they took any and everybody real easy. Miss me with that bullshit from them bogus ass online institutions. Argosy has always been a bogus online institution. All right. With that being said, now let's level set this conversation. Dr. Bryant, you first came out on the various podcasts or whatever, and you were saying that you are no longer practicing up under a license because you have less restraints and you did not want to be held to the restraints of licensure, and that you were previously licensed but you chose not to go under licensure anymore, or whatever the case may be. And for a lot of people, that's when they got off the train. They was like, oh hell, she bogus, whatever the case may be. Me, not so much. I'm one of those people that I understood how some people, based on you saying you were not licensed, will begin to call you bogus. but I was definitely willing to give the benefit of the doubt, especially considering the fact that she was showing up in a lot of entertainment talk spaces. I could definitely understand, especially considering if the money was good, how you didn't want to be quite tied up under the licensure stuff. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, something in the back of my mind was giving, ooh, girl, what you saying is just a little bit spicy, and it's feeling a little bit bogus right here on the left-hand side, but because I like you, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and if that's what the lady said, then that's what it is. I was choosing, I made the conscious choice to override my spidey senses and go along with what you were saying when it came to the licensure thing. And I was like, okay, you know what? That's going to die down in a couple weeks. Sis still going to be getting her work, and it's all good. Now, I was laying in my bed today, minding my business like I always do. And then it popped up like it did, saying that she went to Argosy University and the school shut down and wiped out proof of her doctorate degree. And I'm not going to hold you. If I'm being honest, the first thing in my mind was how fucking convenient. The first thing that went through my mind was how convenient that people call your credentials into question, and then you tell the people you went to a university that's shut down. How effing convenient was that? But then what really sealed the deal for me, Dr. Bryant, was that he started talking.
There's DNA.
Come on.
There's heavy-duty DNA.
Dr. Bryant, was that you started talking. You started talking. You got real cavalier with it. I don't give a F. I don't give a F. I'm going to clear this up one time and one time only, and I'm doing it for my fan base. I'm paraphrasing here. First and foremost, the I don't give a F and using SHIT was very off-putting. It came off very defensive. It was not ladylike, and it damn sure did not speak in the tone by which we would expect from somebody who is supposed to be a doctor and professional and all of these things. The I don't give a F what y'all think, it was giving very much let's take it to the street. And that may be your brand or whatever the case may be. But it would seem to me that if my reputation and my credibility and my credentials were being called into question, that I would be very proud to make it very plain where all of my stuff is. Now, Dr. Bryant, where you lost me at wholeheartedly was when you said Argosy closed down, so you couldn't, reach back and get your transcripts and confirmation of degree and all these things because the university closed down. Then you went on to say that they used a third party institution to kind of verify the degrees or some type of third-party clearinghouse that only held on to the records for 2 years. I'm going to be very honest with you, Dr. Bryant. That don't feel right. It just does not feel right. Even the credit bureau holds your shit for 7 years. What is the purpose of them using any type of third-party clearinghouse if they are only going to hold the records for 2 years? It just did not feel or make any sense. Then where you really lost me was when you went on to say you called financial aid. She said she called financial aid, and financial aid said because the school closed down, they could give her a refund, but if they gave her a refund, it would basically invalidate her credit and her schoolwork that she did. And I'm like, okay, maybe she used the wrong term when she said financial aid, because financial aid is typically the name that's designated for the department at the school that gives out the finances or whatever the case may be, and the school is closed. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, she couldn't have called financial aid at the school. So maybe she meant she called FAFSA, the federal government financial aid people that we submit our forms to that issue out our student loans. The only thing with that confused me is that for financial aid to tell you they would give you a refund, but a refund would result in your schoolwork being invalidated. Financial aid does not have the ability to issue you credits. So how do they have the ability to invalidate credits? That was the first thing going through my mind. Second thing, as a former accountant, I know the way transactions work and loan disbursements work. The Department of Ed or FAFSA or whoever you called at the federal level, they don't get into the weeds and the minutia of the credits and the credit hours. They simply send over to the school a lump sum of money for you to do whatever the hell you need to do with it, whether it's buy a meal plan, buy your dormitories, buy your books, or buy your credit hours. They do not get into the minutia. So I just don't understand how they would say to you, we could give you a refund, but it would basically invalidate your coursework. Thirdly, you are already operating with no proof of coursework as it is, and you seem to be fine with it and doubling down on it and telling us basically to kiss your ass in terms of asking about proof for it. So if you're operating without coursework being validated anyway, it would seem to me that it would be in your best interest to have them refund you the money because you're not operating under validated coursework to begin with. Okay, that's that. Now, let's get into the more practical common sense thing. Number one, I don't think in this situation, Cheyenne, that you have the right, nor should you be so cavalier with your attitude. You are working in a mental health place. You came to us and told us you were Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Nobody knocked on your door and said, hey, we want you to tour the world. We want to build you up as this doctor character. Come do it. You came to us. I do not think it is unreasonable for anybody to want proof of your credentials, especially when you put it out there that you're not working under licensure. I don't think, you got to understand, you're presenting yourself as a doctor. That is a position that requires trust from the audience. The audience is now questioning your trust. And I don't understand why you're having a hard time solidifying that bond. I don't understand why you're getting so cavalier and defensive instead of saying, I understand why you guys could not trust some of what I'm doing based on the way it's being presented, because we're not used to our doctors and our mental people presenting the way you present, not working under licensure and now saying they have degrees that can't be validated. It would seem to me that you would be rushing forward to reestablish public trust. Cheyenne, here is where things are beginning to really look bad for you, sis, if I'm being perfectly honest. When a situation can be put to rest in 0 to 60 seconds and a person refuses to put it to rest in 0 to 60 seconds, it's probably because they have the inability to put it to rest. Fine, let's just say for the sake of argument,
The No Sweat Crew. Follow Degree and find out. Degree Clinical 5X, the strongest degree ever.
At Wayfair, delivery and setup can be as easy as, well, doing nothing. Room of choice delivery and fast expert setup.
let's just say for the sake of argument, you can't get the transcript. You can't get them to confirm the degree. Sis, it ain't a black person alive who hard copy of their degree, not at their mama or their grandma house in the box. I don't care what you say. At the bachelor's level, there is not a black person going to college in the black community is a big MFing deal. Where is your degree? Where is your degree? Where is your degree? Call around your grandma house, call around your mama house, That's number one. Okay, sis, you ain't got the degree. I understand that Argosy is an online university, but I'm not about to argue with no bitch that claim they got no degree from Argosy and you can't produce us no cap and gown pictures. I understand that it was an online institution, but baby, I wouldn't give a damn if your ass was on an oil rig in the middle of Alaska. There is not a black person alive who is going to accomplish PhD level work and not walk their black ass across that damn stage. Where's your cap and gown pictures?
I'm going to end with this, and I want to go into this little clip from Cam Newton.
Is what is it, the bylaw or the expectations for you not to kiss or somebody to kiss you, does that apply to everybody?
For the married men.
No, I'm talking about for you. Like, is it just fans or just in general? Now, what we have been seeing around is what is it, the bylaw or the expectations for you not to kiss or somebody to kiss you, does that apply to everybody?
For the married men.
No, I'm talking about for you. Like, is it just fans or just in general?
Nah, that's in general. I'm not just kissing randoms. Yeah, I'm not just kissing randoms.
You not kissing randoms?
No.
So what
randoms? No.
What goes into you being comfortable, you, Fizz, feeling comfortable to kiss somebody?
It's a connection. Energy, the frequencies gotta be aligned. I feel it. Like, you feel when you vibe with somebody. That's the only time I'm gonna kiss you. So we vibing, you know what I mean? But randomly, see you on the street, you want a picture, a hug, cool.
You ain't.
Don't kiss me.
Say less. Now, just bro code or bro talk. What's the ratio of women that when you kiss, you strike to?
Like I'm hitting?
For sure. Like you crack that.
100%.
100%, gang. I'm not. What? So what you had just admitted, you kissing Dr. Bryant? No, man. Real question. Chivalry. Is it dead, or did we just stop putting in that effort all along? To me, being a gentleman is always about showing up right. Whether it's confidence, whether it's presence, it's all about taking care of your partner in every which way. That's where Rose Sparks comes in. It helps you show up physically, more control, more confidence, stronger performance when it matters. Because being a gentleman still matters. Sometimes your moment is perfect, but your body just don't get the memo. And believe it or not, that's way more common than what people will admit to. A lot of guys that I've talked to say that the pressure to be ready on demand can result in scheduling sex around a treatment. That's where Rose Sparks comes in. Not a Rose Spark user myself, but here's what they are designed to do. After Rose Sparks dissolves,
Dang, I can't even skip it.
It gets you hard in about 15 minutes on average. That's because it enters your bloodstream faster than traditional pills, which can take up to an hour. Rose Sparks gives guys harder, thicker, fuller erections. And here's the kicker. They last up to 36 hours, which means more sessions, less stressing. For full safety information, go to road.co/safety info. Tell me a story right now, go.
Well, there was
Man, Cam ain't even talking about nothing. Hold on.
Load up my gun.
Let me go with this right here.
I wanted to speak about the recent controversy surrounding Cheyenne Bryant and some of the comments she made on her most recent appearance.
And this here is Crystal, the social worker. Let's get it.
On the Joe Budden podcast. Now, if you are unfamiliar with Cheyenne Bryant, she is a life coach and a social media personality.
Be back in a minute.
She's also known for her appearances on TV and various podcasts. She often presents herself as a doctor of psychology and a therapist.
I've been in private practice as a doctor of psychology for 17 years.
And those titles in particular are currently being questioned by people digging more into her educational background. So on her most recent appearance on the Joe Budden podcast, Miss Bryant said this.
I no longer practice under a license. So just to educate some folks a little bit, a license is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, as someone who is a licensed mental health professional myself, I am also in the process of earning my license to be able to practice therapy independently. I felt that it was only right that I speak on this topic. So after that clip went viral, a conversation started to happen online about the importance of licensure and why it is extremely dangerous to push the narrative that having a license in the mental health field is not important. The first person I saw speak about this was Dr. Raquel Martin. She has a PhD and is currently practicing in the mental health field. And she came out and spoke about the importance of a licensure and the problem with this narrative that Ms. Bryant is spreading.
Just to educate some folks a little bit,
Hello, my name is Dr. Raquel Martin. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, professor of sciences, and podcast host who specializes in Black health and well-being. And I want to break down a clip from the Joe Budden podcast featuring someone who presents herself as Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. But before we dive in, I want to make something incredibly clear. Having a doctor does not mean someone is a licensed mental health professional. You can have a doctorate in literature and be unlicensed and you are still a doctor. You can have a doctorate in education and hold an LPC, being a licensed professional counselor, and you are a licensed mental health professional, and you are still a doctor, but your doctorate is not in psychology. When evaluating anyone's credentials, it's really critical to look at two things: what their doctorate is actually in, and whether they hold a relevant clinical license. In this case, the person you're about to hear from is unlicensed. I'm going to break down why that matters and why this particular message is harmful, especially to the Black community that she claims to be serving and that I actually serve.
a license is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
That is incredibly misleading. Yes, you do need a license to bill insurance, but that is not why licensure exists. Licensure protects you. It means I have completed specific education and supervised clinical hours, passed rigorous exams, and I'm accountable to a regulatory board. If I breach confidentiality, if I cross ethical boundaries or harm you, you have somewhere to file a complaint and be sure that I'm held accountable. A license is not paperwork just for billing. It's a consumer protection. When someone drops or loses or no longer has a license, they're not solely avoiding the insurance hassle. They're also removing your recourse if something goes terribly wrong. So that's a little bit of Dr. Raquel Martin's video. If you guys want to watch the full video, I will have it linked in the description below. So after Dr. Martin put out that video explaining the importance of licensure and how incredibly harmful it is to practice in the mental health field without one, the floodgates were open. People actually came out and were upset with Dr. Martin for calling out Miss Bryant for her misinformation. That's when we started to see more videos from more mental health professionals speaking on this topic.
License is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
This is bad for Black therapists because already we are so policed by other people who don't look like us. Now you have someone in other people's eyes that represents us like, oh, they really doing unethical stuff. Y'all seeing clients without licenses, not taking insurance, and you think that it's okay. But I don't just blame Dr. Cheyenne. I think I blame podcasts, I blame the media for spotlighting her over and over again because it just shows how much power she has.
Hey y'all, I am Dr. Nicole K-Mack. I am a licensed clinical psychologist, licensed. And I wanted to come on here, and I know you're probably thinking, is she done with this topic? No, I'm not. I'm a Virgo, I'm real petty, words matter, truth matters, so let's get into it. So I just saw a post on Instagram, one of those accounts that like gives, you know, the news stories, and it says, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant says she isn't practicing under her license so she can make more money and isn't bound by strict board of ethics and the strict rules. And I just want to give a point of clarification. It's not a rule, it's a regulation and a law. These are laws to protect consumers and those who are seeking mental health treatment. It's a law, baby girl, not a rule. What sis is doing is illegal. This is not about opinion. This is not about a rule. This is not anything else but someone who says, this is what she is. She's a scammer. I'm gonna stop keeping it cute. She's a scammer. She is scamming y'all. She's scamming the field and she's lining her pockets. Let's call it what it is. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is a scammer.
Nobody plans for this moment. It starts as something that's supposed to help. until it's the only thing you need. 1 in 30 Americans live with opioid addiction. Most never plan to, but this moment, you can take back control. With QuickMD, you can connect with a doctor online as soon as today. Visits are affordable, and there's no insurance required. Get started and book a visit today at quick.md.
Are you withholding enough tax from your paycheck? We'll explain how a W-4 form helps you adjust your withholding. When you started your job, you likely filled out a W-4 form. The information on your W-4 form tells your employer how much income to withhold from your pay. Ideally, the amount withheld should be close to what you'll owe in taxes for the year. So, why does this matter? If not enough tax is withheld, you might owe the IRS money when you file your taxes, or even face a penalty. On the other hand, if too much is withheld, you'll likely get a tax refund, but that means your paychecks are smaller during the year. The good news? You may be able to avoid both of these scenarios. To do so, you'll need to give your employer an updated W-4 form to adjust
Her pockets. Let's call it what it is. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is a scammer.
I no longer practice under a license. Right now I'm in private practice. I'm saying, and that's what people don't understand, right? So just to educate some folks a little bit, a license is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
Sis, it's 2026. Please be so for real and just admit you either A, were not qualified to get a license, or B, you lost your license. Sorry, Dr. Calvin Fish, clinical psychologist, but who is this person and why is she occupying so much space? You absolutely need a license to practice as a therapist and psychologist. In fact, it's illegal in many states to practice without a license, whether or not you are billing insurance or diagnosing.
People listen to her because she's pretty. People listen to her because she's pretty, and there is a privilege in that. Additionally, there's also an accountability with that, of which she will not ever have. And Cheyenne Bryant, you can come to the front because I am a current graduate student getting my second master's degree in marriage and family therapist to ultimately become a licensed clinical therapist. For you to have the platform that you have, and for you to spew the harm that you are, all in the name of trying to communicate that you are a therapist, of which you are not. It befuddles me that you get on them people podcasts, and it's just also so interesting that it is always a man's podcast. It's always a man's podcast, but let's put that in the parking lot. You get on the people podcast and say, not that I can serve more, not that I can reach more, not that I can do more, that I can make more money.
Yep.
Not being licensed.
So many people came out and essentially called Dr. Martin a hater and proceeded to argue with her on whether or not a license is important in practicing in the mental health space. She was receiving so much backlash that other mental health professionals came out and spoke up on her behalf. Dr. Martin then posted this on Threads. The number of people who called me a hater, an angry black woman, or some synonym because of my post about the credibility of licensure and Dr. Bryant's harmful and dangerous statements is absurd. I did not call this woman out of her name or insult her. I addressed her inaccuracies and kept it straight to the point. When you say you want best for the black community, what does that truly mean to you? When you ask to be educated, how are we supposed to do that with messaging like this? And I absolutely agree with her. Here's the thing. The only reason why everyone is up in arms about Dr. Raquel Martin calling out Cheyenne Bryant's misinformation is because of how Cheyenne Bryant looks. Mm-hmm. People are arguing with a licensed mental health professional who
It's not about how she looks. It's about the sister. It's about the sisterhood defend the sisterhood. Tell the truth and shame the devil. The sisterhood is going sisterhood. It is what it is.
has a PhD in defense of someone with an honorary doctorate and a shaky educational background. This lady is not a therapist. She does not have a license to practice therapy, and the only doctorate that she has is an honorary one, allegedly. People started to dig a little bit more deeper into her educational background to find out what her credentials really were. People are now claiming that she never had a license, she is not a therapist, and she actually never earned a PhD. They're also saying that the school that she attempted to earn her PhD from was shut down due to ethical concerns and a loss of federal funding. So after this information surfaced, people started to ask questions in her comments about her licensure and her educational background. On one of her videos, someone said, "This is awesome, but go get your license, please." She responded, "Thank you. I don't need a license for what I do. You all need to educate yourself before telling someone who's successful and the most sought out in their field what they should do. Maybe you should book a session and I can educate you." Mind you, this lady is presenting herself as a therapist.
I've been in private practice as a doctor of psychology for 17 years.
You absolutely do need a license to practice therapy. And she
Bingo.
knows that. In response to another comment, she said, "I provide psychology expertise that helps people identify the root of their behaviors, heal unresolved trauma, strengthen emotional intelligence, improve relationships, break destructive patterns, build self-worth, and develop the mindset needed to thrive personally and professionally. My work bridges psychological insight with practical tools people can actually apply to their everyday lives." So after it was alleged that she never had a license to begin with, and therefore never was a therapist, Miss Bryant then began to walk back on the therapy talk as if she didn't spend the last however many years referring to herself as a therapist. In this comment, she says, "I do not need a license because I'm not a therapist. I'm a psychology expert and life coach. I don't understand what's so hard for people to grasp about that. Coaches do not need a license. I do not identify as a therapist. My bio does not say therapist, and my website does not say therapist anywhere on it. It clearly says psychology expert and life coach." Now, this is the type of response that makes me think that the deception was very much intentional. She's right. Her bio doesn't say therapist, nor is it listed on her website. But we have video after video of her referring to herself as a therapist and a doctor of psychology.
I've been in private practice as a doctor of psychology for 17 years.
And because she strategically mentions that she's a therapist on camera, but leaves it out of her bio and off of her website, leads me to believe that she is intentionally trying to mislead her audience. But my question is, what makes you an expert in psychology if you have not met the educational standards to be able to get a license? Now, to be fair, she has always referred to herself as a life coach, but she also has presented herself as a doctor and a therapist at the same time, which is harmful and it's misleading, and it seems very intentional the more you look into it. Anyone who is practicing in a field that requires a license and saying that they don't want to be bound to the board of ethics associated with having a license, or that they're able to make more money unlicensed, is a glaring red flag. Let's just say that you are looking for a pediatrician for your kid. You meet the pediatrician, you talk to them, they tell you that they're able to help your child with whatever condition you are looking to get help with. Then the pediatrician says to you, and by the way, I'm not licensed because I'm actually able to make more money unlicensed, and I don't like to be tied to the strict board regulations that's associated with having a license in this field.
There are trucks, and then there's the 2026 GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Get 10.9% APR for 72 months on 2026 Sierra 1500 models.
My moderate to severe ulcerative colitis symptoms kept me out of the picture. Now I have Skyrizi.
Now I'm back in the picture.
Associated with having a license in this field. Would you still let that person see your child? Now I'm guessing most people would say no. So I'm trying to figure out, why is it so easy for people to understand that if a medical doctor was practicing in the medical field without a license or presenting themselves to the world as a doctor, but they didn't actually have the doctor title or the license, everyone would be on the same page that this is unethical and it is wrong and it has the potential to cause harm. But when it's mental health and the person spreading the misinformation is aesthetically pleasing or conventionally attractive, all of a sudden people get confused on why you need a license to practice as a doctor or a mental health professional. It's so obvious that the only reason why people are defending Cheyenne Bryant's actions is because of how she looked. I said this in a TikTok video that I posted. So many people in the comments were calling anyone who speak up about the misinformation that this woman is spreading. They were saying that we were jealous of her success. They were saying that we are jealous because of how she looked. Some people were saying that we are jealous because of the people that she's around and the success that she has. And I have seen a lot of videos on this topic as I've been researching over the past few days for this video. I have not seen one video where the person in the video seemed jealous or angry at Miss Bryant's success. But what I have seen is people who have worked their asses off to not only get the education needed, but to get the license that is required to work in the mental health field. And they're calling her out because what she's saying is not only misinformation, it could be potentially harmful to people seeking out mental health treatment from her or from anybody else. If we start to spread this narrative that licensure is not important, a lot of people are going to get hurt. I know because of social media, people like to think that mental health is only mild sadness and relationship problems, but that's not all that mental health entails. Every single time you hear someone on social media talking about mental health, it's always associated with either work stress or relationship problems. And I get that both of those are two very important things and can cause an immense amount of stress. However, let's not forget that there are real mental health conditions out here, such as schizophrenia, bipolar, DID, borderline personality disorder. These are real conditions that need real treatment from a trained professional clinician. And someone pretending to be a clinician that does not actually have the training to treat these very serious conditions can cause a lot of harm if someone seeks them out for help. And again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a life coach. This video is not to shit on life coaches or people who are in the life coach arena or field. What I'm saying is a life coach is not a therapist. A life coach is not a doctor. And life coaches have a limited amount of education and experience when it comes to treating certain conditions. Knowing when it's time to refer someone out to a therapist or a psychiatrist is a part of being an effective life coach, okay? And my thing is, if you're a life coach, be a life coach. There's nothing wrong with presenting yourself as a life coach. But we run into a problem when you have the education of a life coach and the experience of a life coach, but you're presenting yourself as a doctor and you're presenting yourself as a therapist. That's where we cross over into a arena where you can potentially cause harm. And it's not okay. So in closing, I just want us to be careful with not only the type of content that we consume, but also with the type of quote-unquote professionals that we choose to follow. People can present themselves online as anything, and they often do. And putting doctor in front of your name and referring to yourself as a therapist when you have an honorary doctorate is crazy work.
Very crazy work.
And I am so over those honorary doctorates. Like, why are they even a thing? I am tired of seeing people walk across a stage in full graduation attire just because they had the money to pay to be a part of the ceremony. They are not real doctors, and it's actually unethical to refer to yourself as a doctor when you know damn well that you didn't earn the degree. I'm actually thinking about making a video about these honorary doctorates and how harmful they are to the community and how people use them to perpetuate misinformation and mislead the public. So if that's something that you guys want to see, let me know in the comments because I can really talk all day when it comes to this topic. So be careful with the type of content that you consume. Always do research, especially when things are not adding up or not making sense to you. And always check a clinician's background, education, and license before you seek out mental health services. But what do you guys think about this topic? Do you think it's okay for someone to practice in the mental health field without a valid license? Do you think that we're overreacting and Ms. Bryant should be able to do whatever she want to do? Let me know whether you agree or disagree, and we can continue this conversation down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
His face. Eyes. No.
This is Dr. Patrice Berry, psychologist, reacts. And this is talking about Cheyenne Bryant. Let's get into it. I'll be right back, y'all.
I'm Dr. Berry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about psychology and true crime, but I also throw in some entertainment cases or cases that are over on social media or different things like that. You all asked for me to talk about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. A mutual of mine, Dr. Raquel Martin, I have her a podcast episode that she was recently on down in the description if you would like to see her break things down more. Anybody that heard about this probably saw or heard one of her videos talking about this topic. So for somebody that's completely new, does not know who Cheyenne Bryant is at all, she was on Club Shay Shay. She did a session with, I'm putting that session in quotes because she is not a licensed mental health professional, because there are some therapy programs where they do give permission for a licensed therapist to record a therapy session and we are able to see the actual therapy session. She is not a licensed therapist. She calls herself a psychology expert, and people have trouble finding her dissertation. People also have trouble finding, and she's admitted that she is not licensed. I'm not sure if she ever held a license, but in researching her and in researching her case, some news articles have described her as a psychologist. And to my knowledge, she was never licensed as a psychologist. So in the state of Virginia, the term psychologist is protected. You can't just say, so it reminds me of Jody Hildebrandt that was going around. So Jody Hildebrandt did not have a PhD or PsyD, to my knowledge, in clinical psychology, counseling psychology, I think she had a master's in psychology. It was like in some type of psychology field. And I believe she held a license at the master's level. I do not believe she was a psychologist. I don't believe so. People, like I said, that's just based on what I was able to find on Jody Hildebrandt. This is kind of a similar situation where this individual has, now there are times when media get your credentials wrong. And so that's where I always make sure when I do media, because sometimes they'll confirm with me, okay, how should we write out your name? And I say Dr. Patrice Berry, licensed psychologist, licensed clinical psychologist. If they wanted to refer to me as a forensic psychologist, I am not a forensic psychologist. I am not a neuropsychologist. Psychiatrists are medical doctors, so I'm very careful anytime I do any type of media to make sure that my credentials are communicated in a fair way. There is something that licensed psychologists can do so they can get board certified. Board certification is not required in the field of psychology, but many psychologists, especially those in the forensic setting, will get additional training to be board certified. So why am I talking about all of this now? Because
Cheyenne Bryant went on Joe Budden's podcast. I did not watch the podcast. I saw enough clips to get a general idea of what she talked about. And it's my understanding that she pretty much said that she does not hold a license because it gives her more flexibility. She charges $350 per hour for coaching sessions. So an hour with me of therapy, so I charge $175 for a 45-minute or 1 hour therapy session. Now I do, if somebody wants to work with me as a coaching client, my coaching services are slightly more, so I charge $200 an hour for coaching. I rarely do coaching, okay? But in this video, we're gonna talk about the difference between a license, I saw a comment and I'm going to, so I'm not saying this, and people try to compare her to Dr. Phil, and Dr. Phil, he did do a dissertation. He was licensed as a psychologist he let his license lapse, and he was not doing therapy with people on his show. So when he was giving his Dr. Phil hard talks to people and having those talks with people, and based on watching the show, he wasn't trying to say he was doing therapy with them. Sometimes people use the word counseling a little bit too loose. Because in the state of Virginia, somebody can be a spiritual counselor and call what they do and call what they're doing counseling. But therapy, getting therapy with a licensed therapist, that is very different than working with a coach. And I've had clients that work with me for outpatient therapy, and they do have a coach. They have a financial coach. They might have, and the financial coach is helping them with their budget. They're helping them break down their spending. I've worked with people that have had an organization coach, an executive function coach, somebody that comes to their house and helps them organize. They see where their areas of need are, and they tailor a very specific plan just for that individual. I've seen people do that, but that is not therapy. Because there are some coaches that will start trying to dig into people's past trauma, that will try to dig in, and they're pretty much almost doing kind of therapy, but without a license. And my issue with that as a license provider is that I have HIPAA. So I cannot talk and would not talk about my clients on my social media platform. I've sometimes given general scenarios, so I've been licensed since 2010, and I have worked with probably thousands of people that for a variety of different issues. And so when I talk about a general case, it's never so specific that the person hearing it is I know she's talking about me. I've worked with a multitude of different cases, a lot of different people, often working with past trauma, working with issues around adoption, working around ADHD, behavioral issues, parenting issues, postpartum. So anytime I'm talking about those things, I'm talking in a very generic way. A coach does not have to do paperwork. So when I work with a coach, so when somebody signs up for my coaching services, I break down that because I am a licensed therapist, if there are safety concerns, we will have to discuss it. Now, I'm not searching for safety concerns, and if I was working with a coaching client and they were in a mental health crisis, I would encourage them to connect, and I would help them connect with a licensed provider in their area. So as a coach, I would not be coaching somebody that's currently in an active mental health crisis. They need a licensed therapist. That's just what they need. And so my shirt says the only drama I want is Korean with English subtitles. Yes, the only drama. So y'all know I love K-dramas, and so it's a nod to K-dramas. And so, yeah. With this whole situation,
Okay,
it
I'm
has
back,
opened
y'all.
up a discussion about the importance of vetting the credentials of people that you hear and listen to on social media. Hey, buddy, do you need something, or are you good? You just wanted to hear? Oh, my shirt. And does it say that? Yep, my shirt actually says that. Nope. So I don't sell this. I got this online. Yeah. I know. My merch shirts are over there. Yes, my psych nerd shirts. Those are mommy shirts. Yes. So Teespring, I have like a vendor that makes them for me. I designed it. Can I get back to the video, or do you need anything? Or are we good? Okay, you're good. Thank you. I'll see you in a moment. All right. Thank y'all for letting me parent for a second. I am very diplomatic and respectful, and then also I like to be able to. So if you searched for my dissertation, right, and we'll do that. So I will show you all, because you have to search it in a different way. And I shared this on TikTok and Instagram, because this is mostly living on Threads, TikTok, and Instagram. You will find some videos here on YouTube about it, but it is my algorithm on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram have been all about this right here. Dissertation 2009 Regent. All right. I have to take the doctor out. Forgiveness.
Again, this is
It is hard to
Dr.
find
Patrice
my
Berry.
dissertation, but it is there. All right, because I just found it the other day. We take the 2009 out. There we go. So because my maiden name, when I graduated with my doctorate and when I was originally licensed, I had not met my husband yet. And as a professional, I thought about, would I stay Patrice Turner professionally and legally, or would I become Patrice Berry professionally and legally? I was licensed in 2010. I married my husband in 2013. If my career had been more established, so I was established in my area, and I didn't like Turner Berry. Turner Berry sounded like one word. I didn't want to hyphenate it. And so, because you have to look up Patrice Turner to find my dissertation, Forgiveness and Aggressive Children. It was the PATS program. Because I found it on ProView the other day. Google is not being my friend today, but if you look up over on Instagram and over on TikTok, I have the screenshots from that. I also shared a screenshot of my active licensure as well. And I also shared my degrees. So I have my degrees on my wall, and I really did. So I want to be transparent. And just so you all know, on my channel, I am, on my channel, I have, what's the word? YouTube has verified my credentials. So YouTube, I submitted my license, I submitted all of those things to YouTube, because on my YouTube channel, it says verified health creator. So when on YouTube, if you are on someone's channel and if they have that verified health creator, you do know that YouTube has verified that person's credentials. There have been a lot of people, especially over on TikTok, especially on other platforms, that have said that they had certain degrees, they've said certain things, and then come to find out they didn't actually have those degrees. Yes. I was vetted by YouTube. Did I do it anywhere else? So those are the biggest places where I've done it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because on my website I break down the difference between therapy and coaching. So on drpatriceberry.com, if there's a work with me speaking and coaching, I rarely accept new coaching clients. My outpatient therapy caseload is my main priority, and I mostly focus on that right there. And I explain my credentials. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I'll have to update that eventually because it's getting closer to over 20 years of experience. And Mind Your Legacy is separate from my clinical services. So my private practice, if somebody gets mad about something I say on YouTube, they should make a comment on the Mind Your Legacy. Unfortunately, I've had a few people talk about not liking a video over on Four Rivers, which is confusing because that's where I do psychological testing, outpatient therapy that has nothing to do with my YouTube, and they are two completely separate businesses. And so here under coaching versus therapy, that if you're struggling with minor issues that don't meet criteria for mental health disorder, then coaching might be a good option for you. Coaching is not a therapeutic service and is a completely different model. And I don't coach past, current, or future outpatient therapy clients because there are ethical and boundary issues. Coaches help guide people who are struggling in different areas of their lives. It's goal setting, personal growth, maybe behavior change, and it's really present focused and often short-term goal oriented. And so I've done different general life coaching, parent coaching, youth coaching, executive or corporate coaching, and then for some people they want to work on like launching a small business or something. And so that is that. It's really important to understand the difference. I will also say that the road to become licensed is a lot. Somebody recently commented that LCSWs, that licensed clinical social workers, were not as well trained as maybe a psychologist because of the length of their degree, and that is false. So my residency, so once I graduated, I had to do a 1-year residency. For LCSWs, they often have a 2-year, at least in the state of Virginia, there is a 2-year after you graduate, where you have to be under the supervision of somebody, and you have to continue to get continuing education. You have to continue to meet these different standards. Now, somebody can call themselves a social worker and have a bachelor's in social work. So they might be a social worker through social services or through a different agency. Now, to be a clinical social worker or a licensed clinical social worker, that is where people have passed. There's a special licensure test. They've jumped through extra hoops, and so some of that can be confusing. Sometimes people will advertise that they are interns, and interns are always under somebody else's supervision. That's somebody that has not graduated yet. So a practicum student or an intern, those are individuals that are under somebody else's supervision. Residents in counseling, psychology, or social work, residents are also still under supervision. And then once you get your license, you're able to practice on your own. And so that's where and for me, I think every person chooses to focus on something different. So just because somebody's a psychologist, just because they're whatever the person is, it doesn't necessarily mean that they will be more or less skilled. That often having a good understanding of what types of continuing education and training does a person receive, what types of certifications or so I've done additional focus in the areas of dialectical behavior therapy, DBT. Y'all know I recently completed my EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And that's all for my clinical practice. I would never do EMDR with a coaching client. Never ever. That is a great way to lose your license if you're doing clinical practice with somebody that is like, yes. And so in the original Joe Budden interview, Cheyenne Bryant talked about how not being licensed affords her more flexibility and less restrictions. So, but I think some restrictions are good. So part of the reason why I'm very careful about going back and forth with people on social media is because even though I'm very clear, I am not your therapist. I'm here to do mental health education. This is not therapy. I try to be very clear about all of that. Because I am operating in my role as a psychologist, because I'll let y'all know, if I had to choose between being a licensed psychologist or being on YouTube, if for some reason the Board of Psychology was like, you can't do both, I'm going to maintain my professional license. Like, I love being here, I love doing this, but if I had to choose, I would choose my professional work. I love being here and giving the education and just helping clarify things, but my clinical practice is my bread and butter. That's my main focus. And so, all right. And so I just want to make sure if y'all have any questions. If you have questions, make sure to put question marks at the beginning. And let's see. Yeah. All right, I'm not seeing questions. And so those are my thoughts. A lot of people have talked about it, and would I pay $350 to talk with her? No. If Dr. Martin offered coaching, like I might do coaching with Dr. Martin. Dr. Martin she is a phenomenal therapist. She's a great professional. So I watched Cheyenne Bryant's talk with Nick Cannon, and she was on Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp. She also interviewed Cam Newton, and I wasn't impressed. I'll just be honest. But for me personally, a lot of the information she was giving was like basic. It was more of that Dr. Phil call you out on your stuff. I don't know that any of it was actually helpful to them.
It was.
She was actually asked, related to her Cam Newton interview, if he reached out to work with her after it, and he didn't reach out to work with her. And Nick Cannon has been very open about his mental health diagnoses, and you would want somebody that specialized in those diagnoses if they were going to be doing therapy with that person. And if you're doing coaching and somebody needs therapy, you can actually make things worse. You can actually make things way, way worse. That's why we have certain protections. And also, if the coach does something unethical, there's nobody to report them to. So anybody can call themselves a coach. Now there are people that do coaching certifications. So through John Maxwell offers a coaching certification process. They're different. I have a few friends that offer coaching certifications. But that certification, sometimes that's just something for you to put, like a John Maxwell trained coach. Like, that's often a marketing ploy. It's not something that is required. Now, if somebody is saying that they are providing like therapy and they're not, then sometimes that's where, for the different states, but because the person doesn't hold an active license, the licensing boards often can't do anything. And so people don't have the same recourse like they do with going to a licensed therapist, okay? Finding a therapist can be really hard, and I do have a video down in the description where I answered y'all's questions about finding a therapist, questions to ask a therapist, because just because somebody's licensed doesn't mean that they're a skilled practitioner. So just because somebody is fully booked doesn't mean that they're really good at what they do. And so just because somebody has openings doesn't necessarily mean that they're not a good therapist, clinician, those things. Dr. Phil did complete a doctorate in clinical psychology. He does not maintain an active license. So, because in order to do what he did, he had to do that. Now, she has an honorary doctorate. That has been confirmed. She definitely has an honorary doctorate. On one podcast, unless this is AI, but on one podcast, she said that she has 3 doctorates. Oh, okay, I guess we can go into it. Because she tried to explain why people can't find her dissertation. And she tried to say that she graduated from Argosy University, and that university closed. And when she went to get her transcripts, she was told that they only hold them for 2 years. And all of these Argosy University students have come forward and been like, that's not true. No, like, we are able to get our records. That's not accurate. And so, in one of her conversations, she said that she was needing her transcripts in order to teach at a law school. And I'm not aware of law schools. Now, I could just not be aware, but I'm not aware of law schools hiring people with degrees in psychology to teach. I could be wrong. Especially somebody that didn't have a degree in forensic psychology, like somebody who wasn't a forensic expert. It was very interesting to see. She's been a producer on different TV shows. She has a whole bunch of social media, a whole bunch of followers. She's written some books. And it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, I'm just to make sure I didn't miss any of y'all's questions, and then we're gonna hop over to talk about Corey Richins. You definitely should not be using the term doctor if it's honorary. Definitely shouldn't be doing that. So, yes. All right. Let me know in the comments if y'all.
Okay. Thank you to Dr. Patrice Berry. We are now going to head over to D. Kristen Kerr.
The power to save lives is within you. Donate plasma and get paid for your time.
What if you could deliver a seamless hiring experience to millions of
To learn, heal, and grow.
About your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online. How are you responding to that in this new era of your life?
I'm going to clear it up once on here. I'm not doing it again. And I'm clearing it up for my dog squad, for my fan base, for my audience who deserve to hear me address it. For the folks who have already made up their mind to not like me or not understand me, listen, I don't give a fuck what your narrative is. I would like for you to.
And that right there is why some people don't like you. It's your ego and your arrogance. Let's keep going.
Recreate it, double down on it, and run that shit. Because I don't give a fuck about it. Now, to my dog squad, my fan base, my folks, my village, it's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused.
The transcript still exists, though, Cheyenne.
Shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go and look, there is a third party that has the records. Why I contact the third party, that third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted, financial aid. You can't make up financial aid. It show
What financial aid gonna do? Financial aid ain't gonna tell you nothing, idiot.
that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program. And they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you your money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university, at this institute. So, do you want us to refund you? Or do you want us not? I said no. Because I didn't want to.
In the words of JC, we don't believe you. You need more people. Let's continue.
Risk the chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program. Luckily, I had, done this with all of the schools. I had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time, and I was able to get just about all of my transcripts, including up to like dissertation. But everything else, there's just no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up. Just
they are going to kill you online this week. Like I said, she has no records. They just want to eat you regardless.
No, that's fine. And it's not even that there's no records that I don't. The school had a third party that carried the records only for a limit of 2 years. So it's not me, it's any student that attended artistry. But again, it doesn't affect me, because if I chose to go get a license as an LMFT, I have my master's in marriage and child therapist, I have my hours. I can just take that and say, hey, let me submit these for licensure, and I want to go sit for my exam, and I'll have to do a study. I don't need a doctorate in counseling psychology to go get licensed as a therapist. That's what we're all missing.
The conversation about your doctorate, because
Come on, Sister Crimson.
Okay, I'm going to explain this one time and one time only, never again. I'm a doctor because I say I am. I'll break it down for you because I know there's a lot of people in your community that don't quite comprehend the things that I'm speaking. I am psychologizing a lot of people with my knowledge and my knowledge alone. The reason I don't work within a licensure is because it would require me to diagnose you with bipolar schizophrenia. Do you know bipolar schizophrenia? That's what I thought. I was a part of a doctorology program. I completed the program, and then the school burned down. Okay. After the school burned down, only 3 transcripts were saved, and I was one of the 3. They were held by the mother of the originator of the school. That person died 2 weeks later, and no one has ever been able to find the transcripts after that. When you join my program, the first thing we make you do is dig a ditch. When you dig that ditch, we make you put your face in it and scream out your problems. That is unloading and unpacking. A lot of therapists don't do that. That's why my program is a little bit better, and you wouldn't get that if you had a license.
But how do we know you're a doctor for real?
You think they give these to everybody? The reason that you cannot find my dissertation or research is because it's actually part of my coaching program. You do have to actually sign up to be a part of my fandom. My doc squad, they know what's up. If you sign up for the newsletter, you actually get my dissertation as a part of the welcome package. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to explain it.
Jack Ryan, what do you know about stalling?
You mean an unsanctioned black ops team?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to explain it.
Hey there, my Crimsonites. Before we continue on, let me greet everyone. Let me thank everyone for coming through, because we are back at it with Dr. Seuss. We are back with Doctor Who. Straight out of Whoville Doctor Who, too. This is a different Doctor Who. This is even a Doctor Who different from the Doctor Who that be time traveling. This Doctor Who is from Whoville, because this is the second cousin on the mama side of Dr. Seuss. right? Okay. So this is not even the Doctor Who. I know y'all thinking about the Doctor Who that be going to the different dimensions, all that other stuff. This is Doctor Who out of Whoville, the second cousin on their mama's side from Dr. Seuss. That Doctor Who and Dr. Seuss do not get along. Little do y'all realize that's how the Grinch had beef with Whoville. A lot of people don't know that. Dr. Seuss sent the Grinch to terrorize Whoville. And that's how that beef you understand what I'm saying? You gotta do your research. You gotta be able to do your research. If you can't do your research, then you don't know. Right? That's how nonsensical this all sounds. This is how much this sounds. Okay? This is how crazy it sounds. This is how much nonsense. And see, I wasn't going to say nothing else about Cheyenne. We had covered her twice. I said, well, you know, I'm not going to beat a dead horse with it. But what made it all blow back up is she don't know how to shut up.
She don't. She don't know how to shut up.
She a little peanut-headed narc that don't know how to be quiet.
Yeah, she don't know how to shut up.
Okay? She had to get back in circulation. On the Breakfast Club, where you know they're going to be messy on the Breakfast Club. And part of the messiness is asking her directly about this doctor business. She got up there and gave an entire song and dance. She gave an explanation how you gave when you was a kid to try to explain why the teacher had said you don't be turning in your homework and your little worksheets and stuff like that, why these worksheets was missing and why they were still in your book bag. Right? And how you gotta have a whole thing about how you lost a couple of the worksheets on the school bus because you was playing, and then your book bag had to be kind of unzipped a little bit, and then the worksheets fell out. And you tell this little 5th grade lie, 3rd grade lie to your grown parents, and they looking at you like, who are you talking to? They let you sit there and say it too. They let you sit there and say that stupid elementary school, grade school lie that you really think you done thought this through. It's got so many holes in it, worse than Swiss cheese. And you are sitting there trying to explain why this is all messed up. When the simple answer is, you simply did not turn those homework sheets in, and this is why your grade is like that, plus you was talking in class. The answer is clear. That was she sat there and said that basically she told everybody the dog ate her homework, the dog ate her transcripts, y'all.
Let's go hear from more citizens of the law.
Happy grass, happy home.
So what do you do? Regular feeding, it makes all.
Dog ate her homework. The dog ate her transcripts, y'all.
Oh, there we go.
Ain't no way. I don't care if that school is defunct. But if you went to that school and you completed courses, transcripts can be had.
Exactly.
Transcripts can be given to you because that doesn't depend. The existence of the transcripts does not depend on whether the school is still in operation. Okay? That school not being in operation anymore has nothing to do with the existence of transcripts. You either have them or you don't. We're going to get into where she is not all there. Cheyenne is not all there, and we're going to prove it. But before we prove how one flew over the cuckoo's nest, let's talk about the dissertation. When you have an earned doctorate, first of all, you can have a doctorate in just about any discipline. It doesn't have to be medical practice or anything like that. You can earn a doctorate in just about any discipline, the same way that you can earn a bachelor's degree in just about any discipline. The doctorate is just going further into graduate school and further into your expertise and your discipline. Maybe to specialize or something of that nature. So when you have or are earning a doctorate, your dissertation is essentially the last step. You must write a dissertation to prove that you understand deeply the material,
Fact.
the deeper understanding of your field, and you have to present that, and that has to be reviewed. Okay? Reviewing it. You have to defend your dissertation. Like, you got to defend it. It has to be there. No one goes through a doctorate program, gets to the part where you have to write a dissertation and doesn't do it. If you do not complete the last key step, which is writing the dissertation, you do not have a doctorate. You cannot earn it. You can't earn it. It's like skipping the final exam. You can't earn it. It has to be on record. Okay? Once you have written your dissertation and it is acceptable, now you have earned your doctorate and you have earned the right to call yourself a doctor in XYZ discipline. Okay? If you do not have it, you did not do it. I'm not even going to give credence to none of that what she said on the Breakfast Club. None of that. We're not even going to pretend for the sake of conversation that that's real.
It's probably
all
not.
that she's doing is further crafting and doubling down and tripling down on her initial lie that she was a doctor and a therapist, which is how she entered into the public space. Instead of coming into the public space and saying she is a life coach and this and that, she wanted to put that extra sauce on there
to say she was a doctor in order to have more of a sense of authority when she was speaking on stuff. It was bad enough that she was not living the life to back up all of her advice and all that stuff that she was given. Now you don't even have the paperwork to back up what you are saying, because she the type of chick, if she had that degree, that doctorate, it would have been taped to her forehead. You would not have been able to talk to her without her presenting it, saying it. Ain't no way
Exactly.
she would have been modest about it.
Hell no, she wouldn't have been modest about it.
Okay? So we are not going to even play along with anything that she said on the Breakfast Club. She is not a doctor because she has no doctorate, no proof, no dissertation, no transcripts, no hard copies, no digital copies, and nothing else that would prove definitively once and for all that I completed these courses and I earned that degree, I earned that doctorate. Here's my dissertation, here are my transcripts, here is the actual certificate, the actual degree that was sent to me. You don't have the degree in a frame. You know they send that to you, which is separate from transcripts. When you earn so much as a GED, when you earn so much as a high school diploma, I still have my high school diploma. You know they give you that piece of paper, right? Any degree, diploma, certification that you earn from whatever institution you attend, when you complete those courses and those credits, they give you that degree that you earned correctly. They give you that. They give it to you. They mail it to you. You get it at the ceremony. However you get it, they give it to you.
Hot tub's busted. We knew our last Verbo was going to be incredible. We didn't know the hot tub was broken. But Verbo had our backs and moved us. Better place, better hot tub.
Got any room for Dad?
Think again, Bruce.
Teenagers are full of surprises. Verbo is not. If you know, you Verbo.
Give it to you. So, even if the dog ate your transcript, it ate the actual degree that they sent you to? Dog ate that too? Post office burnt down when they was going to send it. You had a what they call it? The encounter of the first kind, and the UFOs, they took it, they probed it, you never did get it back. You do not have it. You did not do it. That's the end of the story.
Bingo.
Tripling down on the lie.
Makes no
Coming back
sense.
to the lie. Not to admit, I don't have a doctorate, I can't do that, can't do that, can't have any accountability. Then the gaslighting. Like other people are crazy because they're asking you to provide proof for a lie you told.
Exactly.
You offered up a lie that nobody asked you for. Nobody requested that lie out of you. You came on the scene and lied. Nobody had a gun in your head and said, tell them you're a doctor. Nobody did that. You did that because you wanted more credibility. You did that because you wanted to appear more legitimate. You wanted clout.
Exactly.
You wanted people to regard you as more than a peanut head, bobble-headed hyena.
Mm-hmm.
So you use the title that automatically command respect in most cases. I'm a doctor. I'm a PhD.
Shout out to Kevin Samuels.
When all you had to do was say, I'm a coach, da-da-da-da-da, nobody would be questioning you about this. The therapist community is on her neck.
As it should be.
The therapy community is standing on her neck.
Cheyenne Bryant is lying. Not only is she lying, but she is gaslighting the public.
So hell
I
is.
worked under a license. See, all of this is terminology. The people will open up their ears and do what school teaches therapists to do. I'm not a therapist, but
Tell the audience out there where you first got your start.
as like a therapist, I started off as a marriage, family, child therapist about 18 years ago. Before I obtained my doctorate degree in counseling psychology. Once I became a doctor of psychology, I transitioned from a therapist to a psychology expert in private practice. And a group of licensed professionals who have an issue with this, they teach you all something called active listening. None of y'all seem to be actively listening. Working under a license.
I was up till 4 in the morning watching.
You see, gaslighting is what happens when someone tries to convince you that not only that the thing that you're saying hasn't happened, like they're lying and defending themselves, but it's also when they make you think you're crazy for making the accusation. Like you're crazy for thinking the thing you heard isn't the thing you heard. Now, she is gaslighting and insulting, like you therapists, you're supposed to be doing active listening. We were listening. We heard exactly what you said. We heard exactly what you've been insinuating, and we caught you. It is not accurate. But wait, there's even more.
The conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online.
Mm-hmm.
How are you responding to that in this new era of your life?
I'm going to clear it up once on here. I'm not doing it again. And I'm clearing it up for my dog squad, for my fan base, for my audience who deserve to hear me address it. For the folks who have already made up their mind to not like me or not understand me, listen, I don't give a fuck what your narrative is. I would like for you to recreate it, double down on it, and run
She's
that
so
shit.
nasty.
Because I don't give a fuck about it. Now, to my dog squad, my fan base, my folks, you know, my village,
So
it's very
nasty.
simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program.
No.
This woman is nasty. This woman is arrogant. This woman is self-serving. This woman is egotistical. Just like I said on the title.
I'm excited for bottomless apps for $9.99.
Why, Hank?
Finally have a reason to wear my bottomless chaps. Whoa!
You've been squatting. You've been doing squats.
Yes, I have been. Thank you.
Village, it's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program.
Anytime somebody say it's very simple and proceed to give you the next 5 to 10 minutes worth of so-called explanation, they lying.
Hell yeah,
They
they
lying.
lying.
Just lie.
Lying like a
Anytime
motherfucker.
somebody have a whole lot of things to say beyond a yes or a no for a yes or no question, 9 times out of 10 they lying unless you ask for reasoning behind the yes or the no.
What's going on, sis? They be lying. This is how a peanut-headed gaslighter avoids. It's very simple, and proceed to give you the next 5 to 10 minutes worth of so-called explanation. They lying. They lying.
Very much lying.
Anytime somebody have a whole lot of things to say beyond a yes or a no for a yes or no question, 9 times out of 10 they lying, unless you ask for reasoning behind the yes or the no. What's going on, sis? They be lying. This is how a peanut-headed gaslighter avoids accountability. Because if you notice, she got real defensive.
Very.
Real defensive. I don't give a F about it. What? Why you mad? What you mad for? You mad because people questioning you about a lie you told? That's why you mad? How you get mad? Because people are now questioning you off of lies that you told everybody. You sat there and came on the scene. With a whole set of lies in your mouth to vomit onto the public, and now when we ask you, well, okay, produce the paperwork. Now all y'all can kiss her soda cracker and her acca-bacca. She ain't doing it. That was what she said. Y'all can kiss her with a good Lord split her. She ain't gotta tell y'all nothing. 2 snaps and a circle. It's a whole lot of peanut-headed neck rolling. Let me get to the commercial break and come back, because we got actually a lot to cover. We have not gotten to the actual delusion that she lived. I need to point this out. I don't know if nobody else has pointed this out, but we're going to point it out today on the Crimson Cure. But after these messages, we'll be right back. Because the link is pinned to the top of the chat. I need everybody to go to ashkickin.com in order to keep your skin looking and feeling its absolute best. You need the body butter on the screen right now. If this is going to be your first purchase, please take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Kristen at checkout. Once again, the link is pinned to the top of the chat, ashkickin.com. I owe you guys a bam, 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 bam. You gotta hit the like button, bam, bam. You gotta go ahead and hit the like button. Thank you, Bakish, for your contribution. I appreciate you. Thank you, man, supporting me for the super sticker. And the brother said, y'all better put some respect on Dr. Cheyenne Bryant's name and doctorate degree. And also said the same people who champion her now bringing her down. Who did she tick off? And Gorilla said, Dr. Umar, come get your queen. I don't know if she ticked nobody off. Now let me get that, Dr. Umar, and don't you have a cat? I don't have a cat. But
you don't find that suspicious. You don't find that suspicious. You don't find that suspicious.
Yeah, y'all don't find the dog ate her transcript suspicious? They're not suspicious to y'all? But anyway, before we get back to it, here we go.
Don't eat
Come
plasma and get
on.
paid for your time. When did breakfast get
Come
so
on.
bougie? At Hardee's, we're making breakfast so budgety.
You know, before I get to that, I was going to say for the other super chat that I don't think that I don't know if she ticked off somebody, but then I read it in the chat that she ticked off the therapist and doctor community, and I will concede that. That is who she ticked off, because that would tick me off to have somebody for clout, clicks, and popularity lie and say that they have done work that they have not done, and just by listening to her, I can tell she didn't do that work because I did the work and I know what it takes. And these are people who are not doing it for clout. They're not doing it to be famous. You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to be popular. And here you are lying on the process, which puts everybody in a bad light. Okay? You simply cannot say that you have licenses and degrees and stuff that you don't have. If I sat here and told y'all that I had some type of PhD in this, that, or third, eventually, if somebody asks me for that, I can't be getting mad. And if my first reaction is to get defensive and mad, then the antenna go up. Where was your antennas when she started lying about it? If I get real defensive and start cussing folk out because they asked me a simple question about a lie I told them about information I told them, then that is a red flag.
Yep.
You are lying, or there's a fly in the ointment somewhere, because why are you mad? You should be happy to say that. Oh yeah, I got my matter of fact, here go a picture. I took a picture of the diploma. This was me walking across the stage. See, this is the date. Your mama ain't got the transcript. Nobody was proud of you enough to have the pictures of you walking across the stage. Nobody took a picture of the diploma. You didn't take a picture of the degree and send it somewhere and say, "Ooh, I got my degree, y'all." No, we black people, we don't do that. We gotta go right to her delusion.
Let's go
so
to
y'all
it.
can hear this foolishness.
Let's go to it.
This is bad.
No, I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. My obedience is to God, not to people. And so as long as I'm in His will and I'm serving and I'm doing His, His word, my sheep will know my voice, even the sheep in wolf clothing.
Now, I'm going to pause that right there.
Yeah, pause.
So you Jesus now? That what you trying to tell somebody?
Pause it right there.
You Jesus? Now your obedience is to God. Why do they always bring God into shenanigans and foolishness?
Talk about it.
Sit up in line.
Straight line.
Did God tell you to lie? Huh? Did God tell you to sleep with them women you slept with? Allegedly.
Oh.
Was God telling you, directing, ordering your steps? You was eating twat.
Whoa.
Where was God? Talk about my
Lord
sheep
have
know my
mercy.
voice. You Jesus. You got a flock? Is that what we hearing? All I heard was a back foot say only God can judge me.
Yep, that's what it was. Only God can judge me.
That is not my battle.
Well,
That's
with the
his.
questions that are out there, why not provide the proof of your degree? Why not?
Well, a couple of things, right? I have multiple degrees, and my thing is that my proof isn't something that I have to prove to individuals. My proof is already within my credentials, my degrees, and also more than just my titles, it's in how effective I've been. All of my sessions have been live for the most part. My sessions with Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp, B. Simone, they have all been for the world to see.
Wait a minute. So you trying to say that your interviews were therapy sessions? Really, bitch? Really? You that damn delusional? Let's keep it on.
Did y'all catch the crazy? Did you catch the crazy?
Super
I
crazy.
can't rewind it. We would have to watch the clip all over again because it's not done. Did you catch the crazy? Since you may not have caught the crazy, she said all her sessions were live as she proceeded to name Shannon Sharp, Cam Newton, Nick Cannon, B. Simone, etc., etc. Do these people know that they were in sessions? Cause last time I checked, those was interviews, Peanut
Thank
Head.
you. Thank you. They were interviews.
And in your mind, they were sessions?
How?
Live sessions?
How?
Do Shannon know he was being psychologized in that session? Do Nick Cannon know that he was being psychologized? What about Cam? Cam had to know he was being psychologized, right? Live sessions? She said the interviews were sessions. So there was no. Did they sign off on that? Did Shannon Sharp sign off on that? Did he sign any kind of paperwork, liability waiver, anything? Did you give a disclaimer beforehand? No, yes, no? No? Ain't that a HIPAA violation? You said, as a proof of how effective you have been psychologizing everybody, that these interviews, us, the dim-witted public, thought that they were interviews. She has edified us and have notified us that these were in fact sessions. See how stupid y'all is? You thought that was an interview. Dum pop. That was a session. That's how stupid y'all. Cause y'all don't even know. Y'all trying to question me about whether or not I got a doctorate. You don't even know the difference between an interview and a session. Boop, boop, boop. Y'all stupid.
Beekeeping has helped me heal in a way that I never thought I could ever find again.
Got a doctorate. You don't even know the difference between an interview and a session. Boop, boop, boop. Y'all stupid.
Dr. Bryant was prior to seeing all of my sessions that were live. And they deemed it, as well as I did before they did it, they can't validate me, I validated myself, they deemed it as my work being effective. I am effective at what I do. I'm educated and I'm successful in my lane, and I'll land on this. I created my own lane. And so a lot of...
She created her own lane. Griffin is a lane she created. She created the lane of grifting on black people and making money doing.
Oh, talk about it. That's what she doing. All she doing is grifting. Grifting, grifting, grifting.
She crazy.
She passed crazy.
Times when people see that you created something that maybe they couldn't, admiration turns into envy. And you gotta be okay. And you gotta be okay with that.
As an attack, and I've gotten this question from many viewers, and I owe it to them. You service to
absolutely.
them. Why not drop doctor from your name if you cannot bring forth the doctoral degree?
She can't drop doctor from her name because Dr. Bryant, according to Simone Redwine, she has the Dr. Bryant trademark. So she needs Dr. Bryant to keep making money.
So I've already covered this, right? And we're here obviously to talk about my new book. So I've earned the title. I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. And we're going to leave it just as that. Yeah, the title. I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. My obedience is...
From here on out, I will henceforth be known as Dr. Professor Lieutenant Crimson Cure. Full stop. Did you hear what I said?
Oh my Lord.
And I don't want to hear nothing behind it. I don't want to hear no bellyache.
And the fact that people still support Cheyenne Bryant has to be the weirdest thing I've ever seen or heard in my whole entire life.
I don't want y'all to be trying to talk slick behind my back in my comment section or none of that. I am whatever I say I am. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am? Doctor, Professor, Lieutenant, Crimson Cure. Did you hear what I said? I used to be the regional manager of Radio Shack at its peak. I was the district director of sales at Circuit City between 1992 and 1993. I don't want to hear it. And every time I get on this live stream, I have psychologized every last one of y'all. And I am effective at what I do. Baby, and you better ask about me. Huh? Since we living in the Lulu land.
Uh-oh. Talk to him.
She has some kind of psychosis. For her to say that with a straight face, she got something going on.
Yeah, something wrong with her.
She got something going on because she is living in a land of confusion and delusion. And you can't tell me no different. This why she really ain't got no man. Because she's crazy. Crazy as a roll lizard, baby. Okay? She has delusions of grandeur. She thinks she Jesus. She thinks she is the Messiah of the boneyard. Sitting up, blaspheming. Done drug the Lord into it. Talk about her obedience is to God. Then you drug the Messiah into it.
It's okay. I got you, buddy. Stay with me, Sticks.
Then you drug the Messiah into your life.
It make no sense.
It's incredible.
Very, very
The
incredible.
level of delusion and how far these chicks will go to continue a lie
Yep.
and triple down on lies, add to a lie.
Yep.
Thank you. Shamelessly. Shameless.
No shame whatsoever.
No shame. And then as we call it out, we hate. We hate. Ain't nobody hating on you, peanut head. Ain't nobody hating on you, cherry chan head. Ain't nobody hating on you, Alexander the Great. Nobody. All to avoid the accountability of dropping down and coming clean and saying that I really just want to be a coach. And I apologize to everybody for misleading them. You know,
No accountability.
she thinks sit there, batting her eyes with her little Eminem head and quote unquote trying to talk proper while dropping F-bombs is supposed to throw somebody off. No. You have to be able to provide your certifications and degrees upon request.
Right.
And if you cannot do it, then it is to be presumed that you have lied on the resume. Because Lord knows it's a shame. Because I had to step down from being the senior VP at Spirit. That was a sad day. Yes, it was. That's how I got the lieutenant title. Because I taught all the pilots everything that they knew. See, they had a perfect record, you understand?
So that's a bad deal. You know, I know how it is when you can't get your paperwork right because the second cousin of the owner of Spirit was keeping everybody pay stubs. And once they said Spirit was shut down, baby, they've been on the run, baby. They've been on the lam, and we ain't been able to get severance pay or nothing, y'all. I just ain't tell y'all about it. Anyway, do I have exactly, sis? See, what had happened was
Yeah, what had happened was, and you know, as soon as you hear that, none but a lie.
do I got any? Let's see. Thank you, Jarrell. Says psychologize. I'm still at that. Thank you, sis. I would like to be addressed as Dr. Take Heed. Yes, Dr. Madam. Take heed now. Don't forget your other title that you earned. Okay? Back when you used to be the president of Platinum Tail. I remember that. So, Dr. Madam, take heed. You have to have all your titles. What's going on?
What's Robin Twin?
How's it going?
Hey, you know,
Said Papio is twin. That was priceless. And thank you, Ezel said, Palpatine, henceforth you will be known as Dr. Lord Darth Vader. Exactly. Who can stop us? Nobody can stop you. You can say anything. Anyway, I'm gonna get on up out of here.
Whoa, I almost been here 4 hours. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna cut off here. I've been here almost 4 hours off and on. Like, share, subscribe. Hope to see y'all again soon. Peace.